Hola everybody, how are you guys doing? Thank you for tuning in. Hey Smalls, how are you? Dagger Brown, Pamela Miller, Nayamont, Dreamy Designs. How the Sunday afternoon treating you guys? I'm put on this thing here, my little microphone so you can hear me a little bit better. I was kind of running behind the clock as usual. All right, but I am here. So how your evening going, Smalls? Hi, Charles. Okay, nice. So you guys finish up on a Sunday dinner? How many Jamaicans we have here? Or how many persons are into, like, you know, this thing what I call Sunday dinner, rice and peas and chicken, vegetable, them kind of stuff there. Joyce B. Okay, nice. Yeah, man. Like every Sunday, still doing that. All right, try to make sure this thing is on. Yeah. And thank you guys for tuning in. Just go ahead and share the live to at least one person, if possible. I don't know why my thingy here is showing up so much. Anyways, I put a safety pin there, but it seemed like the safety pin not working. Hi Rochelle, thank you for tuning in. Trudy Green, Andre. Yeah. And Perry. Thank you. All right. So how many nurses do we have here on this live, if you don't mind? You can just say where you're from. I see Perry. Okay, Perry come from 3 places there. So Ishane. Shauna, welcome. So just in case you guys had missed the live yesterday, I did a live yesterday. I did post the entire live to my YT page at ThinkNursing. So you can always go over to that page and just see the full live. Jamaica. Okay. Yeah, go over there and you can see the full live for all of the lives done here on TikTok. All right, they're a little bit lengthy because, you know, we talk a lot and a lot of persons have questions. So some of the information you'll hear repeated because, you know, every day is a new day. Different persons asking similar questions and, you know, we have to still get the word out. Ramona, thank you so much for tuning in. Kems, Dion Leach. If you don't mind, you guys just go ahead and just double tap or triple tap the live. For me, that would be nice. Yeah, so I was kind of packing away some stuff today and I realized I found my contract that I signed from 2015 with my recruiting company. And I was kind of looking through it and I'm like, look at that. Still safe and sound, you know, because I just said that I'm not throwing it away. I think it's time now because I can actually, you know, but I say I'm not throwing it away. I'm keeping it together. So all right. I realize you're tapping I realize that you're tapping away, Smalls. Thank you. Yeah, that's the same thing I do when I go on some person's live. I'm there just tapping until this finger just telling me that you can't tap anymore. But you know, really appreciate that. All right, so what you guys want to talk about today now? I still have some persons still sending me some questions in my inbox that is related to most of the lives that I've done. So if you don't see me, I'll respond to your messages one at a time. But most of them, you know, as I say, I've posted a video already, and the entire YT video that I uploaded over the past couple of days, or yeah, it has that full length of the video, and I'm sure a lot of the questions that you're asking is going to be there as well. All right, so hi Tracy, Melrose, Jemmy, Basil. All right, so I don't know what you guys want to talk about, but as I say, you can always go ahead and put a question down below and I'll answer them. But I was going to talk about, because somebody else was still asking about, you know, moving, apartment search and everything. And so I kind of went ahead and just prepare, like, you know, some tips regarding apartment search when you are transitioning as an international nurse. And it will also benefit anybody that is moving from one state to another or country to another. So it's not only like, you know, geared towards nurses, but, you know, if you're planning on moving over here as a nurse or not, it will be something that will benefit you. All right. Hi, Lady Sash, Granville, Marie, Tanya. Thank you so much for tuning in. So I did formulate, like, you know, a lot of things regarding that. So most of the live today is going to be surrounding things that I feel was, like, you know, important, and it might be something that you'd want to look into while you're doing your research. And one other thing I say is the research in the neighborhood, especially if you have kids. You want to make sure you're finding the best neighborhood to, you know, move to. And I know a lot of times it's going to be difficult, especially when you don't know the place or you're not familiar, then that's going to be something that is very difficult for you. But one thing you want to look at is, like, you know, they always have information regarding crime, statistics regarding crime for the communities. So wherever you're going in the US, you will always find them. So definitely look at that. There is a website called Neighborhood Scouts that you can go on, and it will tell you just about everything regarding, you know, the community that you're looking up. There is also one thing you want to look at is where you're going to be going. So I know sometimes you might not be placed until you get here to the States, but even so, you still want to look at your drive time, your commute back and forth to work. That is something you want to take into consideration. And as I say, if you have kids, they're going to always be primary, because you want it to be a case where they're easily accessible to you and they're not going to be too much out of a reach, you know, when it's time to pick up, drop off, especially if you're not going to have any assistance at the time when you're transitioning. And then you also want to look at, you know, where you're going to find like a major, you'd have the hospital working with, but in terms of grocery stores, pharmacies, all of those things, you'd want to make sure you're looking at in terms of, you know, your location. And as I say, some places do have public transport. A lot of places, you know, they might have like the bus and the taxis and all of those things. So you definitely want to look up that, because as I say, if you're coming over here and you're only going to be having one car, you have two persons, adults in the home, you want to make sure you have alternate plans in terms of pick up, drop off, not only for your kids but as well for yourself, because especially on days when you have blizzards, you want to take into consideration that as well, because you want to make sure you're going in for work. As I said, sometimes hospitals will do send their ambulance to pick you up if you can't drive in the snow, but you also want to make, you know, have additional plans in place in the event that, you know, they're not able to assist you. Oh, we're talking about, you know, like you're moving to the States here, things that you'd want to look at in terms of your community or your apartment search. So we're kind of just making a list of things. But if you have anything that you want to talk about specifically, you can always go ahead and leave it in the comment box. All right. Hi, Cali girl, Georgia. Thank you for that follow. David. All right. And the other thing we talked about was your budget. So I did kind of give a breakdown, but as I say, depending on your family size, your budget might be a little bit different. So even though the company might say bring $5,000, $10,000, that might not be enough for probably you and two other kids, you know, including your husband. So you have to take into consideration all of those things that you're looking at. And always look at the maximum in terms of the rent, especially if you're thinking about a 2-bedroom. Try and find out what the maximum rent is going to be and use those to guide how you will, you know, plan for your travel to the States here. And you have to take into consideration electricity, your water bill. Some of these things are already tied into the state, so you will probably get one large bill, you know, per month with all of those utility, trash, you know, gas, electricity, whatever it is, then you have to just make sure that you look at those, and internet as well. And we did talk about, you know, budgeting for your deposit. Not all the places that you might go will have you do like a 1 month. Some places will say 2 months down payment for your deposit. Some places will say probably $500, or they'll have some little, you know, things going on that will kind of help with reducing the cost. So you just have to find out, depending on where you're going, and at least budget for 1 month security deposit. And that's pretty much decent. Hi, Valerie, Marlene, Auntie P, Empress, how are you doing? Oh, Becky, hi. Thank you so much for tuning in, and Ava. All right, so you want to take into consideration that if you are somebody that is a lover of pet, yes, it comes with a cost as well. So you're going to be expected to be paying rent for your pet, as well as, you know, everything else that comes with pet. And then you have to take into consideration application fees for each adult that is going to be living at that place. So sometimes the fee can be $75, some places $90, and that's application fee for all the adults there. So you have to take that into consideration as well. And most of the time, the application fees are non-refundable. So if you decide that you don't want it, then, you know, that goes down the drain. And as I said, in terms of documents that you would walk with, I spoke about, you know, you can bring your pay stub, you can walk with your job offer, you know, your bank statements, make sure you have your passport. Do not leave your passport on the day of travel. I know we're all excited, but make sure you have your passport, you have a government issued ID. And sometimes, you know, some landlords want, like, you know, a recommendation, a letter of recommendation. So always have in your mind, the back of your mind, a few persons that you can use for recommendations, especially with your, you know, since you're just moving here. If you and your supervisor weren't friends before at your last work or your employment, go ahead and start make friends with them. So that way, you know, at least when it's time for you to get your recommendation, and this is from supervisor, not necessarily from a nurse, you can always have somebody to say, yes, this one is a nurse manager for the hospital, and this one is, you know, the CEO or whatever it is. Get some persons in high ranking to do those letter of recommendations for you. Take them number from day one, so at least when it's time to have all of those calls being done, you already have the number. Is either you can call, or, you know, just let them know that this is what is going to be happening, and you can always, you know, have them kind of just prep for that, talk with them. As I say, credit report is not something that a lot of times, you know, in Jamaica especially, you'll hear them talking about, but here it's going to be something like that. Some places will still go ahead and try to check, get like, you know, a credit report. I think in Jamaica nowadays they're doing reports to, I don't know if it's TransUnion. But yeah, that is something that some persons will try to get information regarding. All right. And as I say, if you realize that they're saying that, oh, we can't give you because you don't have any credit history, you can always just say, you know, explain to them that you're just transitioning to the States, you don't have any history here, you came in with a company. And a lot of times when they hear that you have a sponsor, they're more open to getting certain things done for you. All right, and in terms of the apartments, we did talk about Zillow. So Zillow, they have some really nice apartments, homes that you can actually rent or lease. So you can always look into those. Apartments.com is another one. I've never done, you know, Craigslist. I've done Zillow and apartment.com. And as I say, those have really clean, nice places that you can look up and get places to rent. All right. As I say, virtual tours are always there, but if you're going to a place and you don't know how it looks, you can always either do month to month or just talk with the folks and let them know that you want to see the place. Sometimes they will want you to go ahead and do some deposit. So if you're going to be getting a virtual tour, that's fine, because you're able to see via the, you know, if it's real life footage, not anything that is like on a website that you have to just sit down and watch the video. You want it to be a case where somebody is literally walking through to see what the apartment looks like. So if that's the case, then, you know, that's a plus. But if it's anything else, as I say, I would put a question mark beside it and try to see if I can go in person to see the place before I do a full sign-in with that lease or that home. All right, and remember to make sure you're reading your lease carefully, because there's so many things when it comes on to the lease that you have to take into consideration. Some lease will have you go ahead and, so for example, you don't want to be there anymore, you want to cancel out or, you know, cut your lease early, then some places will say you'd have to pay upfront like a 2 months, you know, payment for the rent. Sometimes it's a little bit more than the 2 months, plus the actual month rent, that month rent. So you might find out that it might cost you a little bit more. Or some places will say you have to pay out the entire 12 months, or, you know, 2 years, depending on how long you had signed for. So make sure you're reading and finding out, in the event that, you know, I decided to break the contract or the lease, what is the, you know, how do I move forward? So always try to find out all of those. All right. And try to find out about your rent increase as well. How often do they do that? And when you're leaving, you want to find out if, so for example, they had carpets and all of those things, if they're going to be using a portion of your rent to go ahead and do that, or is it something that you would have to find, like, you know, Stanley Steamers or some company to go ahead and start doing the clean down for the apartment, and then you will get back your money. So try and find out all of those things at the time, so that way you can know how to plan moving forward. All right. Hi, sweetie. Welcome, Janika. African Queen, welcome. Kevin Dale, Donnet, Vinny, Nadine, Sandy, or Sandair, Shay K. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining in. All right, thank you. So we're just talking about apartment community, the communities that you'll be moving to or relocating to. Hi, Shane. Welcome. She's saying she has a question regarding CGFNS. Okay. You can go ahead and put your question down whenever you're ready, and I'll answer. G-Boss, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. Leon Lewis. All right. All right. So I'm going to continue in the meantime until Shin posts her question down below. Hola, how are you doing? Okay. And then, as I said, like, you know, with the preparation for your payment for your rent, you're thinking about your first month's payment and the deposit. Some persons do, like, you know, some companies will have you like sign up and do like auto payments, things like that, where you can set up the payment online. Some companies will have you do, what do you call those little thing, money order. Yeah, you'll have to do money order with that. So yeah, and as I say, get your bank account, your bank statements, because that is going to help with, you know, kind of telling them that you're kind of able to pay your rent each month. All right, not kind of, but it's going to help with having them probably choose you with that. So Shin is saying, as someone from the Caribbean, did you have to submit your CXC certificates for proof of secondary? Yes. So as I say, when I was leaving, I did walk with everything. So sometimes they were asking certain things, and I just go ahead and just pull them up. So as I say, whatever information you have at home regarding your certifications, regarding school, make sure that you scan them and walk with all the original documents. You understand? Scan them and walk with them, because as I said, depending on where you're going, some places will do ask you for certain things. I'm having a hard time determining which document they need. So yeah, so if you don't know what exactly they need, just go ahead and send off every single thing. So I did send off my high school, as well as I sent off my high school certification, my college. I did send off my my unofficial, well, they got the official transcript. I uploaded my CXC results and everything, and they can choose whatever they want out of it. So that way you're not back and forth and not so sure what exactly they're looking for. And still do walk with them, you know, get the copies and walk with them. I meant when applying for a CES report, along with the nursing education form and license. Hold on there. So I meant when applying for the CIS. I think I did, hold on. Because I'm gonna tell you, I did find my paperwork for, yeah, so this is from 2015. And I'm not joking around. I'm not joking around. This is from 2015. See, this is my contract from 2015. So all my paperwork here, this is what I took to embassy. And I walked with it up until the time when I completed my contract. All right, so I remember for the CES report. I remember the CES report. As I say, I sent everything over when they asked for, yeah, because it's gonna be you need your university, your transcript from the university, and I think there was a section where you can upload your CXC result, your high school. So just go ahead and upload your high school diploma as well as the subjects. That's what I did. Yeah, that's what I did. I uploaded, because there's a section where you can upload, like, I think other documents. So just utilize that section. So just in case, you're not so sure exactly what they're looking for, just upload everything there. And I think they will send you back information if it is a case where they realize that that's not what they wanted. This is for CGFNS, right? Because they told me to upload the CXC. Yes, because they're trying to make sure that you have the requirements for your, for the BSN. Okay, I uploaded a diploma prior to. Okay, yeah, so go ahead and upload that, and then if they need anything, they will usually respond to you again. But as I say, I uploaded everything at the time when I'm applying, just because I wasn't so sure what exactly they were looking for. But I did send over everything, my CXCs, my NCU, well, it was an official transcript they had gotten, but I had gotten an unofficial transcript at the time. So as I say, when you're applying for your official transcript, go ahead and ask the university to give you an unofficial transcript, because that unofficial transcript is going to help you along the way when you're trying to get persons to verify. When they're doing that background check, it's always going to come back because you're trained outside of the US. So it's always going to come back as like inconclusive, and then it's going to be a case where they're going to tell you, oh, we're having a problem, with your background check. And when you check and find out with them, they're going to tell you, yeah, we can't get any information. So that's all the unofficial transcript, your CXCs, all of those are going to come in handy with you. All right. So, okay. So Jasmine says, hello. The night I was asking, I was preparing for my NCLEX next day. I passed. Congratulations, girl. Congratulations. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the profession. Well, you already did a professional from before, but welcome, again. All right. So Shin says, oh, okay, thank you so much. I look out for feedback from them. Yeah, definitely. They're pretty good with that. So as I say, just keep track of that and see if there is anything that they're saying that is pending. But I did uploaded like everything. All right. Oh, the other day I was telling you, so the CGFNS certification, as I was saying, let me write it down here. The CGFNS certification, that is the one I was telling in the other live, where some companies are not using that anymore to verify your education. So the one they're using is the World Education System. So if you can go ahead and do that one. Yeah. So World Education System is the one that some companies are using. So even though you have the CGFNS, and that is the one that you use to verify your international education, they're not using, they're not accepting it. Because I had a company that I was using or working with, they wanted to update because they were switching over. And then I realized it was a trend with a lot of the hospitals. So World Education System. So that way, at least you're not, you can still go ahead and renew your CGFNS certification when they offer it to you for extension. but a lot of places are going to be using this, the West Report. West Report. So it's an evaluation from World Education Services that reviews and converts your foreign educational credentials into US or Canadian equivalents. For many international nurses, a West Report is required when applying for nursing licensure in US or Canada, applying for further education such as a BSN, MSN, NP programs, or immigration or employment purposes. All right, so you can just write that down or save it somewhere. So you can always go ahead and start saving. I think it costs probably like, how much it was? I think it was probably like $800 and something dollars. Something like that. I don't totally, hold on there. Lie. That was the, or $300 and something dollars. Hold on. No, that was for the thing there, inclusive of that. Okay, so you pay the fee. The fee is, it says varies from $100 to $250 plus depending on the report type and delivery. Yeah, it's going to cost a little bit, you know, a little bit of money there, because depending on if you need it within, the, you know, if you're going to overnight it and the facility that you're sending it to, yeah, there's some cost associated with it. But this says 100 to 200 plus, depending on the report type that you're doing. So they have different reports that you will have to look at. All right. No. West is not required for the visa process. It's for the for the CGF for just regular. When you get here and you're transitioning over, a lot of places will probably ask you for that because they're not accepting much of the CGFNS anymore. All right. Interesting. Normally Canada is the one that uses that. Oh, Adriana. Oh, yeah. So in Texas here, a lot of companies were asking about that. So even though I provided, because I'd extended my CGFNS, a lot of companies were saying no, they're switching entirely over. So all the persons that have international, you know, education, they have to go over and do this new certification. All right. Yeah. So that's that. But if you're moving to the US, no, you're still going to be doing the CGFNS. And then from there, when you're done with CGFNS to get here into the States, when you're applying for licensure and jobs, some companies will tell you that they're not using the CGFNS anymore. So you're going to have to use that one. All right. A little early. Oh, yes. So the other day I saw this thing where online, so just in case, I see about 12 persons here, where some persons were saying you can actually go on live and be making money or something like that. And somebody was explaining it to me. So I was trying to figure out how to do it. And they said that it's basically you just click on the live thing. But no, it's not like that. You have to actually go and like you're creating a video, or you have to create a video and post it, and then, or attempting to post it, and then you click on that section. But in order for you to do that, you have to actually select a date and a time. And that's how the date and time came up for today. So I was like, all right, I will just do it and see. Yeah. All right. All right. No problem, Shane. No problem. All right. So back to what I was saying regarding the housing and the community. Where is that? Oh, it was in the notes. Okay, so we're talking about that. And okay, so then we were talking a little bit about some of the things that, you know, on the day of moving, what you can look for when you've accepted your apartment, you do all of the payments and everything, because a lot of times they want you to do a walkthrough. So make sure you walk through and look at your apartment. Make sure you're not getting anything that is broken, or if it is broken, you can always go ahead and say to them, this is what the situation is, and document or take pictures, so that way when you're moving out, you're not going to be charged, or you're not going to be paying for things that were already damaged. You understand? So you want to make sure you're inspecting your apartment, looking for any damage to the walls, the floors, the windows, appliances, the doors. If there is anything, address it, so that way, you know, as I say, it doesn't cost you. look for any leaks, mole, bugs, rodents, pest itself, and make sure that you try to find somewhere that has pest control, you know, those services as a part of your payment plan. Or, well, not necessarily, because you're gonna have to pay, but make sure they're offering that, because some places you might go, you know, you don't know who have bed bugs and who have lice, and you don't want those little things to be crawling underneath and come into your place and then infest your apartment. So try to make sure that they have that as something that it's done every 3 months, or whenever you request it, whenever you feel like, because you're paying it every month. All right, so that way you protect your things. You test the plumbing, the faucet, you know, flush the toilet and all of those things. Verify electrical outlets and light switches. Make sure that they're working. If it's a case where, you know, you're going to a new apartment, always ask if, you know, they can get some new appliances for you if possible. Because sometimes, you know, the ones that they have, sometimes, you know, after a while they wear and tear, and it run up your electricity bill. You understand? It run up your electricity bill. So if it's a case where you can get new appliances, usually you'll see a better, you know, reading, or your bills might be a little bit lower because appliances are a little bit more efficient on the electricity. So always find out about those things. And then check about, you know, the locks and security system that they have in place. All right. And as I say, you take pictures of everything and send copies of them to your manager or the landlord, the property owner, so that way they can have it and address it as needed. And also, you know, it's going to be like a timestamp for you, because when you're leaving, you can always say, well, on this date, at this time, I did send you a picture, and this is the conversation we have regarding whatever, you know, is happening. So always keep those as proof. You don't want to send it 2 months after you're moving to the apartment, because then they might just think that you have been the one who done all of this and now you want something new. So make sure on the day of inspection, you be very inquisitive, find out all the problems that they might have or might exist there, and just make sure you take pictures, send it. Even if they don't want to see it or they're already aware of it, you just want to send it so you can actually stamp the time and date it was, you know, sent over to them. Make sure you have smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, and those are all working there as well. And you get your keys, you know, your access, set up your utilities. A lot of places will require you to go ahead and set up your utilities ahead of time, all right, before moving in. So you have to get all of those things ready, like I guess, well, not necessarily internet, because you can't live without internet. I think you don't have to go with the internet initially, so that is not something that they might ask you to bring in at the time. But like your electricity, if they're going to be using gas, what else? Electricity, gas, water, you know, trash, all of those things, they might, you know, might have you go ahead and do ahead of getting the key ready for you. And you also want to take into consideration renter's insurance. That is something that you definitely want to take into consideration. And they'll tell you. So if you have one already, you can always work with it. A lot of times, you know, these companies, they will be like, oh, we already have renter's insurance, but the renter's insurance already high with their company. So if you can find one and you draft up your little plans, you put how much you want, most of the time they will have their own, or they will have like a set, you know, like a total that they want you to have in terms of the value. So for example, 50,000, 100,000, and it's going to be dependent on probably the property, how the property look and all. And then make sure you're trying to cover all of your expenses, down to your toothbrush and everything. Yes, take into consideration all of that. So just in case any let's say natural disaster or any emergencies or whatever it is that happen, and you can't get back all of that, at least it is covered within that, how much ever you decide to value your properties for. All right, and that's that. Thank you guys. I remember you can go ahead and still go ahead and, you know, go ahead and like up the live. All right, like up the live and share it. Hello, 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 welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. All right, yet an hour. All right, so, and then, you know, when you finally move in, then as I say, you don't have to think about getting everything at once. Always prioritize what is important for you at the time. So a bed is going to be very, very important. So you want to start out with the best, mattress. Yes, you want to get a very sturdy mattress, or a mattress that is going to be very relaxing for you when you are in your home. All right, even if you don't have anything at home, you want to make sure when you're asleep, you sleep comfortable and you wake up and you're not having too much aches and pain, and you go to work feeling, refreshed. And when you get home and your body tired and beat out, you have somewhere comfortable to go and lie down on. So even if you don't have all the fancy things in your, your apartment, you want to make sure that your bed is comfortable. So invest in a really good bed and, the mattress itself. All right, invest in a good mattress for your time when you're there. I see something here. Where exactly would we get the insurance? So for the insurance, different companies do offer for, it's like since I've been here, I've always seen that little, what you call it now, the little lizard on TV from long time, Geico. Yeah, man. So I never really know much about anything else. And as I say, once I am accustomed to something, or if I find something and I like it and I don't have any problems with it, I'm going to keep it. And so from my step foot in the US and I see that little lizard, it's not a lizard, but you know what I'm talking about. You see the advertisement. Yes, I've started with Geico and to date I'm still with Geico. So I do everything through Geico. I haven't had any issues with them. They do respond, like you call them today, they do respond immediately. And if there is any issues or whatever, then definitely, they take care of it. And they're the ones that I was telling you when I got here. It's because if you don't have any years on your license, when you're as a driver, you will realize that your rates might start off a little bit high, but as you get a little bit more experience, then your rates, they'll give you back money. So you realize that your rates drop. It lowers each, probably like every 6 months, every year, your rates tend to go down. So, yeah. Huh? Who is that? Monster? I have no clue what you're talking about. But yeah, so definitely, 15 minutes can save you 15% or more in car insurance. Definitely. Definitely. So they're the ones that I use, and through them you can get your renter's insurance. And as I say, the renter's insurance are pretty reasonable. So make sure you, value your items real good when you get here. So in the event that something happens, and as I say, with insurance, you're not really, yes, you might have a headache because you're saying, oh, I'm not using it and this and whatever. No, you want it for rainy day. You understand? You want it for days when the place frees up and whoever on top of you in terms of your apartment flooded the entire building and your items get damaged, your computer, your laptop, whatever it is get damaged, they will cover it. Those are the times you're paying your insurance money for. You understand? The emergencies. All right, so definitely look into that and make sure that is something that you also get coverage. But as I said, the apartments usually will have those available, but they might be a little bit more expensive than some other companies. And if you go out to some other companies, you might realize that you get more money or, for less. All right, so as I say, you prioritize on things that you definitely want. All right. And then you get your basic items first, and then you add decor and, the extras as you go along. So, as I say, if it means you can get your curtains, you get your blackout curtains and all them stuff there so people don't have to see in your apartment and I say, I wonder what's going over that side. You understand? Yeah, so definitely do all of those things. And from there, mail and address registration, you're definitely going to do all of that. So you can get your mails being delivered and everything. So you submit your UPS change of address, especially if you're going to be moving from one place, because you want your mails to come with you. You understand? And what I did was, at the time, everything that I'm signing up for, I do electronic. So that way, we're going to really have this bunch of mail coming. Because I tell you, when I just moved here, the amount of mails you'll get. Yeah, man. Credit card offer, loan offer, car offer. Yeah, man. You'll get tons of that. So I would say invest in a shredder, because you're going to be getting a ton of meal when you get here. All right, so invest in a good shredder, something that can shred probably like 10 pages at once, because you're going to be getting those meals. All right, you're going to be getting those meals. So definitely look at that. And as I say, all the things that are important, like in terms of banking information that is important or anything that you sign up, if you can get emails, go ahead and get your electronic, copies sent to you. So that way you don't have to have these ton of mail being sent to your house, and then you're going to have to go ahead and figure out how to shred those. And the other thing, if you don't have a shredder, what I did was I just get a bucket of water and put it in the garage. You understand? When the time is getting too cold, then I'll put it inside, because if it's too cold and it's in the garage, sometimes if the garage is not like heated, then you might realize that the bucket freezes with the water. But as soon as I get the meal, we just drop them in the bucket of water. They go ahead and start, melt away, and then I can take it and carry it and throw it in the big garbage bin that they have provided at the apartment. You understand? You just have to find ways and means of kind of limiting some of the trash that you'll get. All right, so as I said, that's how I did it. Just throw them in the garbage bin and that's it. But make sure you soak them away so that nobody can read your mail, even though those are mails that you don't want, but you don't want the information to be out there. All right. The other thing is they say meet neighbors and, build your community. As I said, not everybody is going to be, especially in the apartments. You might be in the apartment and you don't know anybody. Yeah, you might not know anybody. You might just see people passing by, and if nobody is smiling, depending on the culture, you might not even smile as well. So you can always go and knock on people's door and meet them, but, that's a very serious thing to do nowadays. So I'm going to encourage it. You understand? But there are different groups that you can always go ahead and join. You have community groups. At your hospital, most of the time you will have like international nurses group, or just groups that you can hang out with. And if you're with a church, you can always go ahead and meet other persons there and just become a part of the community, because you're going to be there for a long time. You understand? So it doesn't make sense you come up here and then you'll be like, oh yeah, I'm not going to meet anybody. No, you're going to have to try and meet one or two persons and just try to, integrate yourself into the community there. All right, thank you guys for tuning in, and thank you for liking up the live as well. All right, Blessed, Kia, William Lynch, Denise, thank you so much for tuning in. Nisi, thank you so much for tuning in. All right, and then the other thing is, when it comes on to your paperwork, as I say, go ahead and always try to make sure you're storing everything. After a while, what I started doing was store like the last 3 pay stub. Not the pay stub, the rent receipt. You understand? And nowadays, what you can do, you can always go ahead and take pictures. So label it. You have a phone nowadays. Everybody have a smartphone, so let's use it smartly. If you want to get rid of some of your paper, just go ahead and take pictures of them and save them in a folder. Label the folder as, this. So you can always have it for reference. So every time you pay somebody, you can always have that for, for your safekeeping. Yeah, so basically that's about it with that. All right. I don't remember. Well, Adriana, I know for you, the other day I heard something regarding somebody, like there were 2 persons who were partners they moved in together, and they weren't married. I think they were in the state of Texas here. Was it Texas? I think it was Texas or something. Was it Texas? The person was from Texas. But anyways, regarding the whole thing with like if you're living with someone, what is mine is yours, even though you don't married legally. Is that something that you know about in the state of New York? So research on your state, and just in case you're moving in with anybody, nobody can say. I think it was a case where the person, so somebody owned something, like they owned the house or they were renting an apartment, and they met this girl, and the girl is now living with them, and it's like the girl don't want to move out. You understand? And it's ended up in court. And no, it's like the girl is entitled to half of this lady's things. And I'm like, is this even serious? So, you know, I'm just saying, right? Seeing that we're on the topic of, you know, apartment and everything. If you're going to be a housemate for anybody or with anybody, or, you know, if you're going to invite anybody in, just be careful and make sure that you know who you're inviting in your house, and making sure that they have an understanding as to what is yours and what is mine. Just that kind of thing. You understand? But that's why you don't let people stay with you. Okay, nice. I heard something like that, and so since I'm on the topic here, I was just gonna say it, because as I say, you don't want to be coming over here and working hard, earn money, and then only to hear that, you know, I am here now and I spend 6 months. I think they have to be with, like, you know, spending a certain time period with you, and then after a while the 2 cars belong to both of us and we're not married. I mean, I said that not even make no sense. You understand? It doesn't even make any sense. But just be careful on that, you know, when you're coming here. All right. So yeah. Totally understand, Adriana. What is his is yours. Totally understand. Yeah, so that's just it on that. Hi, Shed Rock Things. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you so much, guys, for liking up the live. Adriana, thank you for doing that. Maureen Brown, welcome. Walpers Records, thank you. All right, Nursing Bestie, how are you? How are you doing? How is your Sunday going? Okay. Oh, so I was gonna think there. So at the time, I was saying, when I did my contract, when I signed my contract, so as I said, the shift differential at the time was $1. That's what, because someone was asking regarding shift differentials. It was $1 per hour, and this was for the facility that I was at. So it was $1 per hour for night, 7p to 7a, and on weekends as well. So if anybody wants to switch with you during the week, you know, always take that one, because giving up your really nice weekend to go and work for extra dollar sometimes don't really make no sense. All right. Evening shift, when working an 8-hour shift, is like, you know, 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. you do get the dollar as well. All right. So you get a dollar differential from 3. Oh no, so evening shift is from 3 to 11 p.m. and then the night shift differential starts from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. and any hours completed on weekends from 12:01 a.m. Saturday to 11:59 p.m. on Sunday is when you get your shift differential. If working an evening or night shift on weekend, a double shift differential does not apply. All right. Then they add this on-call rate, which was $4.67 per hour for waiting time. But 3/4, you're not going to get no on-call, nothing. All right? Not going to get any on-call, anything. And that was that. So do we have to work weekends? Or we can just schedule for weekdays? Oh, no, dear. You have to do, most places have you do alternate, you know, weekends. Unless it's a case where, so for example, you have some persons who are dedicated to working weekends, because sometimes the shift differentials, especially when you talk about your veterans, the long-term nurses, or, you know, those nurses who have been there for a long time, a lot of times they will probably work the weekends, because another thing with the weekends is that it's usually a little bit slower, because as I say, people only sick during the week. Yeah, man. Especially Monday and Tuesday. Those are the days scheduled for sick days. The other days, yes, it will be busy, but it's not going to be as busy as Monday and Tuesday. So you'll hear people talk about, oh my word, Monday. Yes, Monday comes with a lot of work, because everybody decided to, you know, do something on the weekend, because on the weekend is when them eat extra. They do everything extra. Then Sunday, they lie down and say, yeah, I'm not going to go in today. And then Monday, they say, all right, then, yeah, I'm really sick to this, I'm going to go in. But that's how it is. So definitely your schedule, you are expected to work, you know, every other weekend, or Just like that, every other weekend. But depending on what's going on, somebody might just say, oh, no, I'll work this weekend, and it kind of save you. Someone who, hi, nursing bestie, someone who inquired on that. I told them I will seek from the expert with international RNs. Okay, that's fine, that's fine. Yeah, but you're required to work weekends. So go Wednesday to Friday. So how I normally do my thing is that I normally work 6 days on and eight days off. So I normally do Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. No, yeah, I normally do. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, no. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And that's one work week. But then I realized that, you know, because you already do the weekend, and weekend sometimes a little bit, you know, quiet, you realize you can probably work the remainder. And then 8 days off just feel as though you are on vacation, because I'm not really used to it. Because most of the time I'll be working like 5 days in Jamaica, or you're working 6 days because we're always short staff. So you're doing that and then come here, you realize you're only working 3 days. No, if you don't have any chick or child, you know, make use of the time and just finish off your contract ahead of time. Hi, CJ Chosen. Good afternoon to you too. Michelle Williams, PhD Robertson, Maine. Hola, hola. How are you? Dino Mayaka. Yeah, so definitely, you know, that's one way to do it. 8 days on, 6 days off, or 6 days on, 8 days off, or you can do however you want it. You understand? You can put in a mix with it, but for your weekends, you're definitely gonna have to put those in. And sometimes persons already have their weekends set up in such a way that that's the only weekend they're going to be working. And so, you know, me not really make it be a bother. You understand? I don't let it be a bother. If persons definitely want that, just let them work with it. You understand? And then, may I go follow you? Of course, I don't know why you not follow me so a long time ago. Thank you so much for that follow. I don't know who that is, but thank you so much for that follow. Yes, CJ, go ahead and follow. All right. But you have some persons who definitely want to work like on the weekends, or let them just go ahead and do their thing and then we work around it. You understand? I'll work around it. And you have time when you can actually put in like days that you definitely don't want to work. So say, for example, you have kids and there are certain things that you want to do with them. Just talk with your colleagues. And if you're able to work along with them, then trust me, you will realize that it's not that bad. You understand? You will realize it's not that bad, because some persons have days that they want to do classes, and so they will work with you if you work with them. Thank you for that, CJ. Thank you for that. Yes, so definitely, you know, you can always go ahead and do that. And you can set up your days in such a way that, you know, you work like, say, 2 days, 1 off, and then you probably do 2 days, 2 off, and then you probably work the weekend or something like that. But, you know, find out like what schedule you're going to be on. If it is going to be a time when you are going to be working the holiday, you know, because you're going to be expected to be working like a major holiday. So depending on when you start, then they will tell you if you're going to be on like, say, team A, team B for the holiday, you know. But always expect, like, if you're going to be off for the holiday or on for the holiday, more than likely it's going to be short staff most of the time. You understand? So, but most of the time, the facility sometimes will go ahead and try to, you know, prepare for that time period. All right. But you have to sit down and make sure you did you look at the days and everything and try to, and if you have plans set up, make sure you go in. Oh, they call them departmental leave, DL. Is DL? I think it's like DL or something like that. So you put it in on the schedule so they don't call you any at all during that time period. You put that little thing when you're making the schedule and those days specifically. So if you definitely want to work like 2 days, then you say you're off for 2 days and then you work 3 or something like that. You put in those DL, but you only have a certain amount that you can put in for the month. And once you do that, once you set up your thing like that, they have to give you the other days, because those days are like days that they can't touch. You understand? And then you let your weekends. So as I say, I just know how I was going to be doing my days like well in advance, because I don't miss the opportunity to put in my schedule. because you get the time to say when you want to work. So if you know you have plans ahead of time, you go ahead and put in your vacation time from like day one, so they can always be aware of that. And make sure you plan out your departmental leave and all of those things well. You don't get sick leave or anything like that, but plan it out that if you're going to be working like say 8 days on, 6 days off, then you take a few departmental leave, and then you put it as just set it up in a way where you will have probably like say 2 weeks or 3 days 3 weeks off. But after a while you kind of get to understand how to use it or do it. All right. Me did I talk about how you thank you. I don't know why my skin a glow so. I don't know why my skin a glow so, I don't. Let me show you how my skin look. Let me show you. That bad still, but I'm going to show you. Because, we have to put on a little bit of, so this is me. I'm still a glow, but, we like the little filter. So I'm going to keep it with the little filter on. All right, so that's me. All right, but yeah, man. Not stick, why you bawling now? Why you bawling? Huh? Why you crying? Welcome to my channel. Mama Sonia, welcome. Warid. Well, welcome, Warid. All right, the film me. Just glow up the thing. I'm if I tell you, yeah, man. So, thank you so much for tuning in. All right. So, but that's about it on this little thing here, the contract at the time that I had signed. And let me tell you again what else was on this thing. So this was for the National Visa Center. And as I say, depending on who you're bringing with you, you put them on the paper and do all of the paperwork for them. All right, so all of this was the paper, the file that they had me, because the company went ahead and gave me a copy for myself after, when was that? I got one that the embassy took, or the visa that took at the airport, and I had one. Yeah, they gave me a copy. So, the company good, nice people, them. I guess every company do it. You understand? Because they have to. And then my employment agreement. So I did sign my employment agreement in February 28th, 2015. And I actually left. I did my NCLEX on October 27th, 2015. So February, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. So 7 months after signing my contract, I did all of that preparation and I did my NCLEX on that date. So I went through Colorado, and then yeah, I did it through Colorado. My CJFNS certification here. I tell you, I have everything here. And the fee for the DS260, was it the DS260? Or the Seeker. That fee that you have to pay, so for example, you're married, you have your kids and you want to bring them, that had cost $345 at the time. All right, that's the one for the immigrant visa. That costs $345. And as I say, you cannot use a credit card. You couldn't use a credit card at the time. It must be, unless they change it, it had to be a bank account. So I had to put in like a banking information, the routing number, the bank account, and it took a few days before they actually withdraw it. Yeah. And as I said, nothing regarding the USCIS have used a credit card, because everything you have to pay with your bank account. So even when you're doing your citizenship, it's the same thing. And then the application for that, the application is very long. All right, well, not that long. Unless you have some form of criminal history or something, it might take, a few pages, but If you don't have anything, a lot of the questions are like, no, 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 no. All right. So everything that you hear going on in the news now with people losing their, their green cards or having issues with their green card, everything is like, listed here. Have you ever been involved in certain things like money laundering, conspiracy, violated anything? All of those are right here, and you have to answer those. No, no, no. And then all the way around the back, it says, where was that? So I say, like, all of those questions are there. And when you're doing your application for your citizenship, basically the same set of questions come back if you've ever been involved or if you have any plans to do anything like that. And the paperwork, them not that hard, so you don't have to go ahead and get any lawyer. As I said, the only time I would say you need to probably get a lawyer to do any of the paperwork is if, probably your case is a little bit sticky. In terms of your situation, you probably was involved in something and you want probably, but if you know definitely deep down you don't have anything, it's pretty straightforward. You understand? The only time you probably will be putting in information is whenever you answer yes to something. All right. One question was, the only thing that was a yes was, do you have documentation to establish that you have received vaccination in accordance with the US law? Yes. Everything else is basically a no. You understand? So the paperwork is not that bad. If you have a lot of kids and if you travel a lot when you're doing your application, you have to remember the date. Yeah, man, that is a headache. All right. So if you can cut down on the traveling for a little bit, do that, because it's going to be a headache. Or go ahead and just get a spreadsheet started with all the places that you've lived, all the places that you've traveled to. As long as you spent, 24 hours or more, so at least one day, you have to write down all of those, because you're going to realize that when you're doing your anything that has to do with like a background check, they're going to be asking for those things. But definitely, some will say 5 years in the last 5 years, but for your anything to do with the USCIS, your immigration, that one is gonna want from birth. You understand? But it's because me come from country, mine wasn't that hard because my address remains the same. You understand? So that was the good thing about it. But if you've traveled and you've been to a lot of places, just go ahead and start right down and look through your passport and make sure you can identify, okay, where am I going to go at this time and where am I go at this time. But at the same time, the people them know where you're going and where you spend and why you spend and why you go back and forth so much time. Yeah, man, they're going to ask you, oh, so you went down in October and then you went back down in October and November. Why did you travel all of those 3 times? Yeah, they're going to ask them questions there. So just write it down and remember exactly what the trip was about. Stuff like that. Yeah, it was kind of confusing and it was a headache. But as long as you're able to get the dates a little bit correct, it's fine. Or even just make sure you go in and see where the stamps are and all of that information, and you're good to go. So just go ahead and start log all of those. All right. And where you've lived, and make sure it's the same thing for your kids them as well. Yeah. So if you have a lot of kids, you have to do all of those paperwork. All right. Anyways, back to the different things regarding nursing. Any questions? Oh, shucks, I didn't realize. Hi, thank you guys for tuning in. I need a moderator, I guess. All right. You, Izaro, welcome. King Warrior, Sam Smith, Carrion, Ella, Boogie. We are all law-abiding citizens. Exactly, and that's how we're going to keep it. All right. That's how we're going to keep it. When we get here, it's the same thing. All right, because we need our papers. All right. We don't want to be doing anything that is going to cause any problem. All right. Yeah, wire transfer take 2 to 3 days. Okay. Yeah, that's so true. Adrian and Nastic. Nice meeting you as well. Oh, 7 months long. Well, probably 7 months seem long at the time, but honestly, at the time, I'm going to tell you the honest truth. When I started the process for this thing, because I had just completed my emergency room program in Jamaica, and I came back and realized that everybody signed up for this recruiting company. So I said, no, sir, I am not going to let this thing, slip, because everybody was like, oh, I signed up with this company, I signed up with that company. I was like, okay, then cool. But nobody was really saying which company. And then I kind of hear, you know, one or two persons whispering certain things. And then I went online and looked it up. But I'm telling you, at the time, I was a little bit hesitant. But then may I say, if the ship go sink, it go sink with everybody. I'm not going to be the only person in the department who never signed up for this thing. Because at the time, my grandma was saying, you sure you want to do that? You know, that they have sex trafficking and all of those things going on. You sure it's something that you want to do? I mean, I said, grandma, like, everybody doing it, so I'm gonna run the risk and try it as well. So at that time I never even take it serious. When I was sending off my information and all, I was kind of still a little bit, you know, on the edge because I wasn't so sure. But then after a while I kind of just be like, you know, I'm gonna be optimistic about this thing, and yeah, it worked out okay. But as I said, during that time I wasn't taking it that serious. But yeah, 7 months probably seem a little bit long, but it was okay. Can you tell me something about Australia visa? No, you know, I cannot tell you anything, God bless, about Australia visa, but I'm going to tell you something that you can watch about the Australian visa. There is this thing on YT that I always sit down and watch, and how strict Australia visa is. Yes, even though I want to go there, I don't know, because the amount of things I see these people doing online, I don't have the time, I don't have the energy, but I don't know anything about Australian visa, honestly. Yeah, I don't know anything about Australian visa, but I watch this thing online and they're so strict. So I don't have anything in my background that will prevent me from going there, you understand, or getting a visa. But I'm just to say, like, it's just very strict down there. All right. Hi, Jermaine Watson. Welcome. But yeah, that's about it on that. But as I say, you know, with the visa and everything, you know, once you're walking right and you're doing everything correctly, you know, it should be okay. It should be okay. Hi, Curtis. How are you? Welcome. All right. It should be okay. But as I said, the interview is not going to be anything. When it's time for you to sign up to get your, you know, citizenship, it's not going to be anything big. Honestly, it's not going to be anything big. The day I felt like you know, as I said, I'm a very simple person. I never go there in any heels and what else? No Louis Vuitton bag. I tell you, people dress like pussy and I'm go for their visa, you know. Not them visa, but them citizenship. Yeah, man. I tell you, the people them overdressed the day I went in with my jeans, and I felt like, I'm like, okay then, what's the occasion today? Because I was just going in for a ceremony. You understand? I dress real nice. But may I tell you, say, some people dress in some gown, you think says a ballroom. I mean, I say, seriously? Yeah, man. So, but it wasn't anything. It wasn't anything, you know. On the day of the interview, it wasn't anything. You go online and you put in too little information. They try to find out if you know to, you know, speak the English language. And once you're able to read and read back to them, you know, you say one sentence and that's it. And it was like on an iPad. It was a little iPad, just like what you see me here. Somebody was over the other side talking and doing their thing, and that was it. It wasn't anything like, you know, big. So Adriana is asking, do you remember the questions you were asked at the U.S. Embassy for your EB visa? Of course. Where are you going? They have the paper in front of you, you know, in front of them. They ask where you going. They ask you where you going, and like what you'll be doing, and if you have a job offer. Everything that is in the paper that they give you is what they're asking you about. And you just tell them. I just told them I'm going up with a recruiting company, you know. They asked if I have a job. I told them no, not yet, but I did have a job offer from, you know, the company itself. They had a little stipend kind of thing going on where they offer you something while you're there, but I never had an official job offer at the time. And basically that was it. Never asked anything, nothing at all. They just wanted to find out that. And then when I got to the airport on the day, they were asking where I was going. CM set a question, where I'm going, and how long I'll be staying. I tell them, well, I'll be living in America. Once I get through here, I'll be living here. You understand? And then after they asked me that, they said, well, they asked where I'm going to be staying, and I told them the address. So know the address, know the information for the company. So wherever the address for the company is, you need to know that information. So when you get there, you can just, you know, seem a little bit authentic with your information. You're not going for no little piece of paper and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to be there. No, know the information out of your head. If they ask for the telephone number, you present it to them. So they can know that, you know, at least you know something about the company. You can always just chat. Just tell them, oh yeah, it's a recruiting company. So less questions they will ask you. So the more information you give them, you know. But if you have some, you know, if you have some other things going on, then probably you don't want to say too much, because sometimes you might be nervous. And you probably go and say certain things, so mess up your own self. But if you know definitely deep down you don't have anything to hide, just go ahead and just tell them about the company, what you know about the company, what they're doing, and that's it. And that's what I did, you understand? And they were like, okay, you know, they take your fingerprint and everything, and that was it. And as I say, when I get to the airport, it was the same thing. They just asked, the immigration officer asked a few questions, and that same little binder, it wasn't in this, it was in another, like one of those yellow folder, and they wrap it up with some paper, not paper, with some elastic band, and I had it there with me. And then after they directed me to another location, I sat down there for probably like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, thereabout. And then the same set of questions again, they come back and ask you, where you going to? And they just go through and double check everything. And that was it. But they never really asked any question. They really ask any question. If your spouse is not coming up with you at the same time and they're probably going to go to a different location, they might ask them certain questions. But definitely have them, you know, be familiar with the same information that you're, you know, because technically you're supposed to be going to the same location. But you can always let them know that, oh, my wife, my husband is going to be going to, you know, this location for transitioning. So make sure you guys know what is happening. Your husband, your wife, depending on who is going where, let them be aware of what is going to be happening. I'm going to be doing cultural transitioning for 6 weeks, and then I'll be meeting up in this state after, because they're going to be asking why, you know, you're not with your wife or with your husband at the time when you're traveling. So you can just always say that, and that's basically it. But it wasn't anything, you know, they just go through, and then after they tell you welcome to America again, and hope you'll enjoy your stay, and that was it. But yeah, as I say, you know, if you don't have anything, you don't have to worry about anything big when you're doing that. And it's the same thing when you're applying for your citizenship. Like, there is nothing big. You just need to make sure you know the, you know, they'll give you a little booklet when it's time for you to apply. They'll give you a little booklet, and you go ahead and you try to swat the information. So you can read, you go ahead and learn the different states and certainly the dates and all of those things. And hopefully you'll get probably 10 questions out of the book with the same answer. You're just going to regurgitate it back, you know, to them. But it wasn't bad, as I say. It was just a little computer or iPad at the time, and that was it. All right. So, yeah. Hopefully, they'll still only ask 2 questions. It depends on the person you're going to be with. Thank you for the like. Thank you for the like. Yeah, it depends on the person you're going to be with. As I say, you know, some persons might have somebody that asks them a lot of questions. Some persons just, you know, the information is just straightforward. So that's it. Hold on 1 minute. Yeah, so it depends on who you're with. All right. But it wasn't bad. Hi, Clarence, Devi, Cheryl, Coltrane, Dwayne. Thank you so much for tuning in. Talk to Marianne. Okay. What you talk to Marianne about? Doctor. But yeah, it wasn't that bad. All right, thank you guys for tuning in. If you don't mind us double tapping up your screen. Oh, talk to Salmon. Yeah, double tap up your screen just to give the video a like. Let's try to see if we can go to 8,500. So I'm not really that needy, you know. I'm just ask for 300 more for the time being. All right. So let me drink some water. Matilda, thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for liking up the live. Yeah. But that was that. Oh, and regarding one thing I never made mention of, if you have any gap in terms of your work history, always, just remember the time period as to why there's a gap, like what was happening. Were you in school? Were you pregnant? Were you just out of a job? Whatever it is, always try to make sure during however long you've been working as a nurse or so, just make sure you have those information as well, because it's going to be needed on your application. All right. Hi, Ricky. Welcome. How are you doing? All right. So we can go back to... And you can always go ahead and ask whatever questions you want to ask in the meantime. All right. And then from there... Oh, yeah, I'll talk about the insurance that, I think you guys need to look at when you're coming over here in terms of health, medical insurance, and all of those things. All right. All right. So we did talk about, some of the benefits that you want to look at. And as I say, a lot of times we might be healthy, but insurance is for, those periods when, things are happening, those emergencies or accidents or whatever it is that is going on in your life. All right. So definitely you want to look at your health insurance. And as I say, health insurance is very expensive, or healthcare here is very expensive. Without it, it's still expensive, because a lot of times these insurance companies, they already have a relationship with certain hospitals or certain facilities, and they've already reduced their rates because they kind of tie in with them. So when you have your insurance, it might seem a little bit cheaper, even though it's still expensive, versus when you don't have any insurance, it's going to cost you a little bit more. And then one thing you have to take into consideration is if you don't have insurance, sometimes depending on where you go to get certain testing done, you might realize that if you don't pay your balance, they might not be able to do the testing done for you. If it's in the hospital setting, they're not going to really turn away you like that. But with the whole, revision with Medicaid and all, or Medicare, I think there is going to be probably some hospitals, I'm thinking in the near future, that probably will be kind of turning away patients, because if you're not going to be getting payments for Medicare and all, then probably they're not going to see everybody. They're going to end up turning away some people, I'm thinking. So, healthcare is very expensive here. Without insurance, healthcare is through the roof. As I said the other day, I got my bill and they never billed my insurance. And just for the emergency room visit, that doesn't include the cost for the doctor. Because the doctors who work in most of the hospitals, they are with a different company. And so you will realize that you will get a different bill for them. So you'll get a different bill for the doctors, you'll get a bill from the hospital, you'll get a bill from the radiology department. And that's about it. So you'll probably get 3 different bills for the one visit. It's not like in Jamaica or probably in your country, if you have one rate that you pay the doctor and you see the doctor and that's it. No, it's not like that. You have different things going on. Specialists seeing you, it's a different bill. You have your lab, radiology, those are different bills and you'll get them. So for the hospital visit alone, without my insurance, because I never billed the insurance, was $28,800. What I went there for wasn't a dire emergency, but it was an emergency, but that's what they sent out for the bill. But I never paid that because I ended up using my insurance, and with my insurance it came down to like $18.60 or something like that for that portion of it. And then for the doctor's visit, it was the same, like 18 something, and that came down to like $75 with the insurance. And then the radiology came down to less than nothing. You understand? So as I say, when you have insurance, it makes sense sometimes, you know. It kind of makes sense, you know, because a lot of times all of that money is all of that money that you're paying, sometimes you feel as though it's like a waste, but at the end of the day, it still works out, you know, if you go in and have all of those big workup done, because, you know, those insurance company have a relationship with those institutions or doctors, and so you will find out that they carry down the price a little bit more with your insurance plan. Not a problem, Ricky. You're gonna take up the goats them now? All right, no problem. I remember what time now? 6:23. No, me used to take up my goat them a little bit earlier than this. Sorry, yeah. I used to have a ram goat and well, a ram goat and a ewe goat. Yeah, man. 2 of those when I was growing up, and then they had babies, and it's just more work. You understand? Yeah, especially if them get you know, them let go. Yeah, them run everybody else's field and cause pure problem. But anyways, that's another day's story. Remember to go and follow me on YT at ThinkNursing. You know, I talk about my childhood days, growing up, and do all of those things. If you want to hear more about that, that's the place to be. All right. And for the video here, if you're not going to be able to stay through for the entire video, I will upload the video on YT as well. So definitely go ahead and check it out after. All right. So as I say, you know, health insurance is very expensive, but one of the good thing about, you know, when you're working with any company, the costs sometimes be a little bit cheaper, especially if those companies are larger. You'll find out with the recruiting companies, a lot of times the rates that you'll get for your insurance plans, they are a little bit expensive because they're not like a bigger, you know, a big system, or not really a system, a big company. So they don't have that much employees. And a lot of times how the insurance, you know, in terms of how much you pay for your premium, sometimes it's based on like the amount of persons in the company, something like that. So if you have a very large company or a system, you realize that the amount of money that you'll pay for your premium might be a little bit cheaper than if you have a smaller company. The premiums might just be a little bit higher. So a lot of employers tend to offer, you know, employees their insurance. So if it's a case where and you probably don't end up paying anything out of pocket for that. Some places you probably spend little to nothing at all. But it's always cheaper when you go with your employer. And they have different things as well that they will cover you with. So if you are somebody that is single, you don't have any kids and everything, then that will benefit you a little bit, because a lot of things will be $0 and you'll still get the benefits of the health insurance, the short-term, long-term disability, and all of those things. All right. And the health insurance is going to help with your doctor's visit, emergency visits, prescriptions plan, everything else. All right. And as I say, you want to ensure that you get onto their, you know, their insurance plan as soon as you transition from your full-time job. So they have this thing called like open enrollment and all. You can always try to get on. Or if there is something that happens, like if you got pregnant, if you got married, all of those that change your status and you don't have any control over it, then that is the opportunity for you to actually either increase on like your premium or change your plan at that time. All right, to get something better. You want to look at your dental and your vision, and you know, if you're somebody that loves to smile, and even if you don't love to smile, make sure you get a dental and you want to see. So make sure you do get your vision insurance. And those are usually separate from your regular medical insurance. And they're cheaper. You understand? They're very cheap. So make sure you go ahead and get your dental, your vision, so you can see well, smile a little bit more. You understand? And do all of those fancy things. So you get all of those done. And it usually includes your coverage for your glasses. All right, so if you want designer looking glasses, it will cover it. All right. The retirement plans are something that you definitely want to take into consideration. All right, so your 401k or your 403 plan, those are some things you want to get enrolled in. When you switch over to the company, a lot of times that is something that you know, they will automatically get you into. And then they have this thing where they match your rates. So say, for example, they're doing, like say, for example, they're doing up to 4 or 6% or something like that. Then they will match whatever you're contributing. So you want to always go ahead and try and maximize on that as much as possible for your contribution. All right. And then you also want to look at your disability insurance. And as I say, these are things that the max is 6. Okay, good. Nice. All right. Then you want to look at your disability insurance. And as I say, disability doesn't necessarily mean that you are disabled or anything, but in the event that something do happen, you walk, you slip, you broke your foot, your ankle, you know, you have something there that can still give you a little bit of a money. Or if you do get pregnant, you're out of a job, you still have something there that will give you a certain percentage. So still go ahead and do those. And as I say, it's not that expensive. It is pretty cheap. So take the most expensive one. It can be like $20 a month or $20 per, like, bi-weekly, every 2 weeks. Go ahead and do those. Get the coverage because you don't know when something might happen that you might need it. All right. Some companies definitely do those where, you know, on the start of your job, you know, once you sign on, they start with that. So that's a plus for some persons. So depending on your company, if like when I was pregnant at the time, what I did was, you know, I calculate every single thing up to the time when it's time for maternity leave. Yeah, I mean, I have some back pain. I said, no, so I couldn't do anymore. So I calculate how I wanted, you know, this thing to go. So as soon as, because the company was doing, they were giving like, you know, short-term disability on the day 1. And so what I did was up until the time, like I tell you, my calendar was my best friend. It's always my best friend. So I calculate all my hours that I had to be done during my contract up until the time. So by the time, so for example, today I completed my contract and I said, hey, my company, I'm done. You understand? Tomorrow, I sign on full-time with the company, and by the next day, I go on a maternity leave and I get whatever benefits the company was giving. So just sit down and plan it out properly so that way you're not wasting your time and doing all of those things, trying to figure out how you're going to get paid when you're on maternity leave, or, you know, if you have any little thing that come up. I was able to get my FMLA. So even though I just sign on with the company, and just play the little card on them as well. Go to your manager and say, you know that I've been working with you for 2 years or 1 year. Like, you sure I can't just take some time off and go and do my little thing now? Because they will tell you that, you know, usually we don't approve, you know, when you're just starting out. Go and just sweet talk them. You understand? Let them know that you've been a dedicated international nurse for this time period, and soften them heart a little bit. And especially if you know you're always on their good side, because you're always doing their overtime and whatever, they're not going to have any, they're not going to say anything. They're going to be like, yeah, approve. And you just smile and continue. You understand? So work well, so whenever it's time for you to sign on, it works out in your favor. So as I said, that's it with disability. And then life insurance is something that definitely you want to think about. You understand? It's never, you don't think of it to say that you're not making enough money. Just say that the one extra shift, if it's $40, $20, whatever it is that you're going to be working for that shift, that is your insurance money. That is your life insurance, because you want to make sure that years from now, you know, your children, them still have something that, you know, they can get. So definitely go ahead and protect yourself, protect your family, and try to get whatever you can. As I say, a lot of these insurance plans, they're so cheap. They're so cheap. So just go ahead and try to get those for yourself and your family member in terms of coverage. And also look at the critical illness, especially because, you know, you're a nurse and all of those things. Look at the critical illness. Look at the ones that talk about, you know, there is one for, it's like related to OSHA, that is needle stick injury. Make sure you get that one as well. You understand? Because these critical illness thing, them very tricky, and you have to read them and make sure it makes sense for you, because some of them, it says, so for example, you're working and you chop off your hand, or not necessarily you chop off a finger, and you think that you cover. You only talk about if you chop off your big finger, your thumb. You understand? So look through it and make sure it makes sense for you, and then you choose a plan that makes sense. Because as I say, a lot of these is geared towards making money, the company, but at the same time, you know, how often you hear somebody doing something and specifically probably chop off them ring finger or something like that, and when you look on your insurance coverage, it never really included that finger, so make sure it says either the entire wrist or something that is included. So read through those policies and make sure it makes sense. All right, paid time off is something that you want to look at as well, and sick leave. And paid time off, a lot of times you might hear people saying that, oh, they're going, they're on paid time off or they're going on vacation. If you don't work, you don't get paid time off. All right, you have to work in order to get those PTOs. So you earn PTO like every pay period, or some companies will do like hourly or something like that. But a lot of times you'll hear company talk about PTO relating to bi-weekly. That is the most common one. So if you don't work anything, you don't get any paid time off. All right, so it's not free money. It's not free money you're getting, or it's not free time off you're getting. You actually work and you're getting back something. So you get those, you earn those, and you can always use them for your sick leave, or you can use them for your vacation time, but you still have to request those ahead of time. All right. There is some employee assistance program out there. So if you're somebody that needing someone to talk to, you're an international nurse, and not only an international nurse, but you're new to the job or the company, you're stressed out, you're feeling as though you want a psychiatrist, any form of mental health, assistance. If you need support in terms of your house burned down and you need some money, you can always reach out to those persons and they will help you, because they have assistance for those. So definitely talk about those. Continuing education and reimbursement is something that a lot of companies do have. With the recruiting company, they do also assist with continuing education. So once you do your CEN, you can always send them your receipt and they will go ahead and pay back. As long as you're on the contract, they will go ahead and pay back for that. I think they only pay back if you pass the course. So if you're failing the course 10 times, I don't think they're going to be paying for that. I don't know if they've reviewed it, but yeah, I know if you don't, it's the same thing with some of the hospitals. If you don't pass the course, they're not going to pay for it. So make sure you're spending your time and doing the exam and passing the course, and then you can get back those money. And a lot of the companies, you will realize that, they have courses that you will do while you're on the clock. And that usually is something that lasts for probably like a 1 year before you can actually do it over. And sometimes, depending on the company, the site that you go on, you can always have access to it at another company. But what I always do is, once you get those certifications after completing the courses, especially if the course is something that you think is, or the certificate is something that is probably going to be used in another facility. You have some things that are like, standard, that across the board hospitals will use. If it is something like that, just go ahead and print it out, put it in a folder and keep it. So whenever you go to another facility, at least they will have it to say, oh, you already done a HIPAA course, or you already did a OSHA course or something like that. So you can always have it as reference. All right. And tuition reimbursement is another thing that, is available. And not for you as an international nurse, but once you sign on and you are full-time, you should be able to get into one of those programs. Well, let me take that back. So if you are an international nurse and you decide to go to school, you can go through some of these companies. They have programs in place where you can do your, master's of science or whatever it is that you want to do. You can advance your career and they pay for it, but you still get bonded. And sometimes after, they will help with tuition reimbursement. If you're trained internationally, I don't know if they assist with or they help with that. I don't think so. The tuition reimbursement, no, you have to be trained in the US here for them to actually help with reimbursement. All right. There is also the flexible spending. I never really did this one before. The FSA plan, or the HSA, which is a health savings plan, but it is money that, you contribute. It's pre-taxed, so you contribute it and then you can always use it for different things, like childcare services or something like that. You can always use those money and do. If you want a blood pressure cuff, if you want a scale, things like those, you can always go ahead and use it and pay for that. Use it for your co-pay and different prescriptions and all. And one other thing, I never made mention of it here, is the hospital indemnity plan. You can look up that as well. And as I said, these are pretty cheap. And sometimes with the companies, they do offer that. And what that does is it helps with your hospital bill. So for example, you know, your insurance cover. So for example, the cost is $20,000. Insurance already go down and cut it down to probably like say $4,000. And your responsibility is probably like $1,500. That $1,500 that you'll pay out of pocket, you can use your hospital indemnity plan to go ahead and pay it. So if you have that in place, you can always go ahead and, you know, use your hospital indemnity plan, the insurance itself, to cover that $1,500. So as I said, the prices are not that bad, you know, in terms of those little things. It might seem like a lot because you probably end up spending, let's say if you have a family, you probably end up spending like say $400 or something like that. But if in the event that one person do gets to the hospital and is there for probably 3 days, you know that $1 million at least insurance plan is going to come out a little bit handy for you at that time. So just look into those. And as I say, it's going to be based on a case by case. So if you know that your child is asthmatic and usually in your country, you're at a hospital like every week or every month, you know, or during those, the winter period, then definitely these are things you want to maximize on. Go ahead and make sure you get all of those things in place to help with saving some of those costs associated with those visits. All right. Shaky, welcome. Rosie Man, welcome. Georgelyn, thank you for following. Marvin, welcome. I'm doing good. How about you? Elaine Scarlett, George Massimo, welcome, welcome, welcome. And guys, go ahead and yes, like up the live a little bit more. Thank you. All right. But yeah, so those are things that, you know, when it comes on to the insurance, the benefits, I would highly encourage persons to make sure that you're looking into. As I say, health insurance is, you know, it's a hell of a thing here. Healthcare is expensive and you don't want it to be a case where, you know, you're saying, if me did know, or if I had known at the time, I would have done this. No. All right. And the other thing about it is that a lot of places will offer, you can do like payment plan. So if you realize that you have some tons of bills, you can always go ahead and do like payment plans to try and get your bills settled, you know, so that way you're not owing anybody. You can go ahead and do your payment plans with them and you pay over a period of time rather than paying $1,200 at once or $2,000 at once, or going to a facility and hearing that, oh, you owe a bill and you need to pay up all of that money at once. No, if you know you go to the facility, go ahead and start a payment plan if it is something that you're not able to cover ahead of time. So that way you're not deny any service whenever you really need it. Because then you're going to have to be thinking about, oh, well, yeah. No, don't do that. Go ahead, make your payment plan, stay on top of things with everything. So that way, you know, when it's time for you to seek out healthcare, it is still accessible to you, even though you probably owe the people them millions. All right. And that's that. Any questions? Hi, Glow. Thank you for liking up the live. Oh, and following me. Thank you. And as I say, I'll follow you guys back as well. All right. And when we're following, try to do a little bit of engagement, as they say. Watch the video in its entirety. Not this one. You can go onto YT and watch this one in entirety when it's posted. But definitely engage, especially if you're going to be trying to get a lot of persons on your channel or your following. You want to make sure you're engaging. It's not about just making sure the little heart pops up, the red button. Yeah, it's not only about that. You want to make sure that you are doing 1 and 2 little things as well. So, and that works. It works. So just go on to 1 and 2 persons every day, 5 persons, dedicate 5 minutes, you know, take your time, watch the video. And just in case you are not familiar with how to fast track the video, I'm going to show you what I was taught on another video. All right, so this is, so the young lady says you go onto the video and you click. All right, so this is the video I did. Well, no, this one doesn't have it. So you do that, and that's how the algorithm is going to understand what's going on, understand that you're a real person. So you go down, you see this little thing here, you press it like this to speed it up, and it's gonna show that it's speeding up the video by whatever time. So like people like me would talk a lot, you probably don't want to hear, but you already click on my video and you want to support, just go ahead and do this. Make sure it goes to the end. Is me still a talk? And it just the right here, so yeah man, make sure it goes all the way to the end. Yeah, my video them long, so make sure it goes all the way to the end, and once it's done you click on this thing, because TikTok is for everybody, you know, everybody can win on TikTok if we do it the right way, you know. So you click on that one, you leave a little comment. It doesn't have to be that long. You can say my nose too big, my talk too fast, you like the content, whatever it is, you understand. You put the little comment there, and then you click on that one to favorite, and then you repost it. All right, so you repost it, and that is it. And that is one thing you're gonna do. If you do that for 5 persons in your contact list, the algorithm is gonna understand that you're a real person. What I hear another person says is that it's nice to go ahead and respond to somebody else's comment. All right, because then the algorithm is going to understand that there is some form of communication going on. So you just go ahead and do that, and you'll realize that persons start coming to your page because you're reposting, you're liking, you're sharing, and not everything that you repost, you might not like it, but you're supporting that person, because other persons in your page might realize that that is something that they might be interested in, and they might just go ahead and do that. All right, so that's how you do, you know, engage with your people. All right, as we say, you're not going to be able to engage with 100 people that post every day, but if you can take the time out to do just 5, as we say, I win, you win, everybody win. All right, hi Mona, how are you doing? Thank you for tuning in. Dancing Nurse, welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you? Joseph Clark, how are you guys doing? All right, so that's that. All right, so not a problem, Glow, not a problem. Not a problem. Are you a nurse, Glow? And as I say, once I'm finished, I will come back and follow you guys. All right, I'll come back and follow you guys, and once we post, I'll do the same thing as well. Mona, I tried come your box the other day. I don't really understand. You tried to inbox me? Hi, Umbro. Thank you for tuning in. And as I say, you know, Orlando, welcome, welcome. As I say, this is... that's my dream, but I think I'm... Oh, to talk to me. Okay, no problem. No problem. And I can send you my number. Because if you want to talk to me outside of, you know, I'm free to, you know, listening. But I don't want anybody, you know, trying to call. Not you, Mona. But yeah, because I have on my YT page, you know, where I talk with persons during my live as well. So if you're a nurse and you want to just kind of spice it up, because we don't have it like here on TikTok on YT where you can talk with people. I try to kind of just have like, you know, live stream where I sit down and talk with persons. They ask questions. We kind of vibe together. It feels more like this. So I have my no. She said me ignore her. It wasn't like that. I'm going to look again. Let me look and see if I saw the message. But I have my number there that I have one of my number there that I put there for things like that. You understand? So if you are a nurse and you want to talk or anything, you can always do that. You understand? And if you want to be on my I'm trying to get a podcast going, or just having a, you know, a forum or a place where we can come and talk about our experience as a transitional nurse, international nurse, day in the life. If you have something that is going on for you as a nurse and you want to share it, things like that, I want to, you know, I want to bring you on my channel. It's more of to motivate, encourage, inspire, share your story growing up, things like that, you know. So, you had someone in your box and I wanted to elaborate it in a city request. What box you talking? Look here, I'm gonna read it so 100%. Are you talking about the request up here? The request on the, oh, you're talking about the request on the thing there. So I'm going to tell you something. You see, when persons send me the request, I will accept them sometimes. But if I don't know, but I don't remember. The other day I was on the live with someone who sent me a request and I accepted it. So I don't remember if I had seen your request at the time. So sorry about that. But if you want, you can send the request now. You know, you can send the request and we talk. But I'm not really, you hear me just sitting down here and just talking. I don't know anything about TikTok like that. Oh, you're out now. Okay. That's fine. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. Yeah, I don't really know much about TikTok like that as well. So you hear me just talking here, you know, tell me, you know, realize that I don't say to the people them touch up the live or anything. We just continue to talk. You understand? Because I don't really know much about TikTok here. So I'm so sorry, guys. But I do appreciate everybody that is popping on and, you know, helping me out here. You know, so that's it. Melrose, welcome. All right. Do you guys have any questions that you want me to answer? How long I'm on the live now? From 5 o'clock, almost 2 hours. I'm not spending the entire day here today. I'm just gonna do 2 hours today because I have work tomorrow. Yeah, I'm gonna be working tomorrow. Hope it's not gonna be hot tomorrow. It was hot last week. Let me see. I sent an invite, I guess. It says invite sent. I don't know. Okay. But anyways, we can still keep on talking. We can still continue with talking. All right, so we did talk about the insurance. We talk about I'll do this one. I'll do documentation another day. How many nurses do we have here on the live? If you don't mind, you can just say me, things like that. All right, if you're a nurse, just say, you know, me. Persons can request to talk via guest. Okay, via guest. So I'd have to put them up on the, so let me see. Okay, so guess I'm gonna put you up here. I click on you, Adriana. Okay, so you're moving up over this side.
Hi, so yeah, this is how they do it. So on the bottom of the screen, they see guests and they can click on it to request to join.
Okay. Because I see a lot of people like saying it's like it says invite whatever.
I think that is if like I am live and you are live, then that's where the invitation would.
Because I thought that's what I read. So that's why I don't click on it.
Right. So but for this way, I don't have to be live. But as long as you accept my request, then I can come up and talk like this.
Okay. Yeah, because sometimes I'll see all of those popping up, but then I'm like, am I supposed to like do anything with those or what? Because it says invite whatever, but I thought it says that these persons were live when I was reading up on.
Yeah, they are live, so probably they're requesting to probably pay a match or something.
That me don't know about.
Somebody one of them send lion, tigers, and bears.
Oh, that's what somebody sent me one, and I was just sitting down looking because I don't know what we were doing. They were talking, but then I eventually had muted them, and then a friend of mine as well said he wanted to play the thing. So I said, okay, go ahead and send me the invite. I'm online, so send me the invite. But I never really did anything. I just sit there looking because I never really know what to do and continue talking.
That's another way that you can make money on TikTok, by getting gifts. So when you see persons sending in like flowers, those are actually money.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So if you haven't started, I have 83 cents. Yeah, I saw
Let's
it.
start.
I saw my thing and it says about my PayPal account. I have 83 cents. So yeah, way to go. All right. So yes, how are you doing, Adriana?
I'm okay. I was actually trying to calculate my insurance.
For what? We're
What will because I sent a document that shows you like the different coverage and what you're going to be paying weekly, just so that you can have an idea.
So that's what I was saying. Like, the insurance plans, they're gonna be so expensive. They're gonna be so expensive when you're looking at it, and then when you're calculating your rent, well, possibly this amount you'll be spending for rent and your car note and all of those things, you're gonna feel as though you're gonna be in like almost a deficit. But as I say, just make sure you have your health insurance, you have a house, you have everything you need is gonna be in
Right.
that. But you just have to try to see if you can do your overtime to kind of help with that. But
Look at it. I mean, we're in the US where you have to pay for everything, so might as well get proper insurance.
exactly. So what do you call it? I think it's like the one that say high deductible. You have something where say like high and low. So try to make sure the medical is high. But then, as I say, with the others, it's not that bad in terms of the pricing. So you just
Yeah,
keep
I
everything at the
realized
same.
because the vision not too bad, and the dental is just the medical that is a bit
The
pricey.
medical is the one that is pricey. What insurance plan they have with you, your company?
I'm seeing United. I don't know if that's what
Okay,
it is.
United is not a bad insurance. The one I had was Cigna, and it was very, very good in terms of even with childcare. It was very good with that. So United is not a bad insurance. I actually like United, Blue Cross, Blue Shield, and Cigna. I've never
I
really used
haven't
anything else.
I haven't seen anything specific about pregnancy. The only thing that I saw maybe it would fall under is short-term disability, maybe.
Well, it would eventually, it doesn't really show on it that it is a part of it. There was one insurance, and most of the time it's like a private insurance companies that sometimes they will say the medical insurance include everything except OB, gynae. And then depending if you have your gynae, you're just doing like an annual wellness visit. Sometimes they will go ahead and pay some money towards it. But if it is anything outside of annual, then even though it says for OB cases and gynae, so it's based on like an individual, so if it's like everything is okay, then some insurance company. But for the majority of the time, I've never had the insurance plan specifically saying this because it automatically covers it. So if you don't see where it says except, then it's okay.
Okay, then that's fine then. Because I don't come off for the gelding chocolate.
Yes, man. I started out with that. So even though I never had any child, I was like, okay, let me just look at family. Boom. Start out with family. And even if you're married, it's gonna say, I think there's one that says for you and spouse.
I was thinking if it's a case that I should start with family even though I don't have one, or we can update it afterwards.
So you can update it after, because that's gonna be a case where it's like, what do I call it? No, like there are certain things that will allow you to change your insurance during the year, or certain things. So if you get married, if you get divorced, anything that has to do with the change of your status, then you can automatically just go ahead and change your benefits during that time. So that's one way for you to actually change certain things. So you can start out with you and your husband, and then if you do get pregnant, then you can always go ahead and add that part or change it to family at that time to get the coverage.
Okay.
So that's it.
Yeah, because it's a big jump between spouse and me and family.
Yep. Does it specify like how many kids on it?
I don't think so. I didn't see anything.
Okay, because I remember, I think with Cigna at the time, it said for like it says up to 2 or something like that. Is it up to 2? Like 2? No, not up to 2. Like 2 or more. something like that. Then you have and like it's another tier or something like that. Because I remember a friend of mine was looking at, there was this thing she was looking at for her to not be spending almost $500 every 2 weeks to get the children covered under that. Because she had 3 kids, so that was it.
Well, it just says family here, so I'm hoping and praying that family is any amount.
Well, let's hope so. Let's hope so. But yeah, sometimes I have them little things regarding that.
I'd probably have to ask my IDA though, just to make sure, or they'll put me onto the insurance agent to double check.
Double check it. But even so, you're not going there with them for that long.
Well, that
Because you
is
only
true,
can
but
get pregnant. Well, but then again, if you're pregnant and have twin 2 times, or
not the twins.
oh my word.
Well, if we get twins one time, that's it.
That's it. That's it. Yeah, that's
Use
what I
one
wanted.
stone, kill 2 birds.
That's what I wanted. But only one we get, bro. The Lord bless me with one. So, yeah.
And normally I would say I want one, but then I realize when you're only one, when your parents get older, it's you alone.
I'm if I tell you,
They need company.
need company.
So you pay 1,000 and me pay 1,000.
Company I need. But people stop having kids nowadays, bro. Don't have no more kids.
Everybody wants to go to Dubai.
Nobody wants
I'm kind of guilty of it too, where I'm realizing that, okay, I want to live, and then if I transition into a different space, I still want to live before you come. So I was saying to my husband, said, boy, I mean, when it go come, you know, because there are certain things that I want to have or put in place before the child joins us.
Look here, sometimes if you're still not waiting, you're not gonna have no pitney.
That is it. But if God send it, then that's different. But
Exactly.
until then,
don't wait until it's too late though, because when I have my child, I'm gonna put on my paperwork, my geriatric pregnant. Let me say nothing but me so geriatric. I'm like, are you kidding me? How old am I? Huh? How old am I? And I'm like, yeah, as long as you reach this age, it's a geriatric. I'm like, God. Yeah, so don't wait too late, because then there's more problems. Even though you have persons who are out there, 40s, having twins, no problems, no complications. So,
that's good for them. And I feel like a lot of persons are getting pregnant later.
Exactly.
We're not having more teenage pregnancy anymore. Persons are, But then again, back in the days, persons probably were having kids at 40 too. So how you end up with 8, 16, 30 children.
Exactly. Customer expert says, why am I seeing this? Oh, probably because you stopped by, customer expert. All right. Probably because you stopped by. But thank you for tuning in, though. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. Just in case you decided to pass by. Tamari, welcome. Althea Overcomer, welcome. Let me invite my friend here. Oh, I wonder if she's gonna RN to CEO. I met her on YT. Let's see if she's gonna be here. I'm a nurse here to start a family, been talking to God. Okay, well, he's the right person to talk to, customer expert. He's the right person to talk to. All right. He will guide you on your, on your decision. So, but, child, what do you call it now? They always say having a child is a risk. So it's something you have to just think about. If it is something that you definitely want, then speak with him and then, take your risk. All right. So, what are you up to today now,
No,
Adriana? What's the plan? You working tomorrow?
not working tomorrow. I actually just came back from country.
Where is country for you?
St. Elizabeth.
Oh, I don't know where side you come from.
All
Where
the
my
way
friend come from?
all the way down in the bush.
Southfield?
Well, not that bush.
My friend is from Southfield. My
Oh,
friend is from Southfield. Yeah.
so she goes to Treasure Beach. I'm from
Treasure Beach.
Black River.
Okay. I remember when I was in high school, went to what that place called again? Black River Safari.
With
The
the
crocodile.
crocodile or alligator. Why?
One of the two of them. One of the two.
I've been on it probably twice.
Oh, it was just that time. But in first form, every first former had to go to Black River Safari back in the day.
Wow.
Yeah, every year you're doing a trip to Black River Safari. So every first former had to go to Black River Safari for the day as a part of the school trip.
Which school was that?
Manchester.
Oh.
So every year, and up to the other day, I was kind of surprised that they're still doing it. And them still have the big bus that look like them, the market truck, market bus them back in the day, Lala looking kind of.
The Lada looking one.
Lada.
I would have to ask my niece because she's in first form at Manchester.
Yeah, man, I saw them with it. I think I saw they posted something on their page. I say I never know that them still doing this thing where we're still going to Black River Safari in this day and age. But anyways, I guess it's up and running and still a thing. So, but it was a nice trip back in the days.
Somewhere else to go, somewhere new. You didn't go on a trip? Never go on a trip.
You never go. Oh, yeah, man. Black River Safari was the place to be. A school trip.
Manchester?
Yeah, Manchester. Because he used to go Manchester, so.
What year?
Which year? Which year I'm graduate or which year I'm go?
Graduate.
2010 graduate.
Young somebody.
2010? So that means if you graduate 2010, so that means you were in. So that means I may probably have an idea who you'll be, because I would have been in fourth form. Yeah, what about the fourth form? I leave. Last name? No, first name.
Ryan. Not Ryan.
No. There was our friend. So, yeah, man. I don't know if you know me. Ryan.
No,
there was
she was in fourth form.
I would be in fourth form because me leave what? 06. How would me leave? 06. So me leave 06.
She was before you.
She left fifth form 06 and she got sixth form.
No, me never go six. No, me never go sixth form. So that means I was in me leave 06. No, do the maths, the man, sure. So me leave 06 and you leave 10.
I leave sixth form 10.
10. Okay, so 10 minus.
So that means
2.
No more than know you then.
You start 2005.
You're
only.
No, more than know you. Would have done long. Would have finished because 2005 I would have been in fourth form.
Oh, so you're younger than and I look better.
No, I want to know him. Okay, yeah. So, but Rochester know each other, I know.
Somewhere.
So, yeah. Yeah, man. So, what school you went to, Adriana?
Hampton.
Oh, Hampton. Okay, Hampton girl. Okay. So you did on dorm and everything?
So I was a day girl, so I didn't have to board.
Oh, okay.
Here. Yeah, because it's not 100. It's both day and boarding school, and I lived in Black River, so it made sense to travel.
Oh, Okay. Okay. I thought it was like mandated that you had to board over there.
No, son, thank God, because I don't think they would have the space for that. Yeah,
Okay.
so yeah.
Okay. Yeah, man. What time now? 7 o'clock? You know, me say we're not staying late tonight though. We need to go and look at my patients that I'm gonna be seeing tomorrow.
Go, because you have work.
I'm trying to finish tomorrow by what time? I want to finish by 1 o'clock. That's what I tell myself every day. I need to finish by 1 o'clock. So I can come home and, chill. I will turn on the TV there. I'll come back home and chill and do whatever. But some days it don't really work out like that.
Well, you can go and prepare. The information tonight was very insightful. You see, my road go start calculate.
Yes, bruh. Thank you. No problem. No problem. I'll come back another day. I'll be doing a little bit more live. And I'll try to see if I can, do it on YT as well, because I can't answer the name I was told. So based on what I read. So I'll try to see if I can broadcast it over to YT for my folks over there. But at the same time, I'll still upload the full video from this one over to YT so persons can actually still see it, just in case. Because every now and again, persons might just inbox me and it's the same set of questions that I already doing a live that a lot of them are asking. But, question a question. And if you miss it, you just miss it. You just have to repeat it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, but I really enjoy the live chit-chatting. I'll talk a little bit more, regarding probably documentation and all those things for some nurses. Because this is something that I think is very important. So I'll talk about things like that in another live.
Something that I saw, the difference between the in-network and the out-of-network insurance. How does that work?
So with the in-network insurance, so you have the facility or the insurance that will work with a certain, so for example, they have like some contractual agreements with certain doctors, a certain hospital. So if you go and visit them and the bill, so for example, the service costs $250, them already have an agreement to say, okay, then, because this person is a part of the network and you already sign up, we're partners. We will go ahead and say, rather than the person be paying $250, we will cover $150. And then probably you end up on spend probably like say $30. So the in-network is like an agreement them already have with the providers, the hospital. So the service is a little bit cheaper. So they have prices already arranged. So say for example, you go in and them say the hospital visit is $150 out of pocket, but with the insurance already say, okay, then the cost is gonna be $75.
Okay.
So when you do in-network, it's cheaper. So you always want to make sure you're using in-network providers because it's going to be cheaper. You can still go ahead and use the insurance with other companies or doctors who are not a part of the insurance network, the network itself, but you might find out that it's going to be a little bit more expensive.
Okay.
So whenever you don't know, who is in network, you can always call the insurance and find out who is in network. So you can always make sure you're choosing somebody that is working with, because everybody will tell you that them accept the insurance because in network, out of network, they'll bill it. But you want to make sure you're getting the one that is going to be definitely for your insurance, that is going to be less costly. The traveler. Hi, good night. Did you receive a sign-on bonus with your company for completing your transition 6 weeks? No. A bonus? I don't remember getting no money from my company. I don't remember getting a sign-on bonus. I know some persons were asking about sign-on bonus, but the sign-on bonus was I don't remember getting the sign-on bonus. The sign-on bonus was for the sign-on bonus was sign-on bonus. Yeah, I have my pay stub from my hospital back in 2017. Sign-on bonus. All right, this was for the hospital. I remember getting a sign-on bonus. Did I get a sign-on bonus? I know some persons were talking about that, but the sign-on bonus, I think, if I sign on, when I sign on, I would have gotten the opportunity to start getting more money as a full-time nurse, even though the contract wasn't fully completed. But some persons were saying that I should have gotten a sign-on bonus because the company was giving out sign-on bonus, but they're not giving me sign-on bonus. The company itself, so Avant is going to be getting, or MedPro, whatever company is going to be getting the sign-on bonus, but I never got a sign-on bonus for signing on. But I know some persons were saying, well, you know, you're going to be getting sign-on bonus for the company, but we never got any sign-on bonus.
Maybe it's something that they started doing after your batch, because now some companies actually offer sign-on bonus
to the nurses.
Yeah, so once you sign your contract, they probably give you like 5,000, 8,000, 9,000, depending on the agency that you're using.
But that would be nice. Come when I don't sign off I'm gonna pay that back to them, cut my contract.
But the thing is, you get it. I don't think it's a one-time payment. It's something that you get probably at different intervals. So like maybe at the end of each year, you get some money, and then I think the most money that you'd get is
on a little. Let me look at this thing here. I'm looking for my contract to see if where is it? I'm looking for that contract. I know I remember somebody was saying something about a sign-on bonus, but I can't remember getting any thing there. And then if I did any referral, then referral bonus. All right, so that one is 90 days. Generally last relocation. I don't remember me getting any bonus like that. How would I remember that money? Assignment termination. I don't remember that money. Money's advanced though, so that's a termination. I don't remember getting no sign on. Okay, hold on there. I don't remember getting. So this was just the schedule. So hours commitment was 6,240 hours. Employee shall be eligible for 2 weeks leave after employee works 1,300. Only one of these 2 weeks of leave shall be paid after employee works 2,300 at assigned client facility or equivalent. Number of visits for employees who work on a fee basis. That doesn't refer to me. After employee works 3,600 at an assigned client facility, employee works 4,900, blah, blah, blah. I don't remember seeing anything. I don't remember getting a bonus from them. I know some persons were saying that we are going to be getting a bonus, but I don't remember getting a bonus. Some persons were saying that we were going to be getting a bonus because the company was offering a sign-on bonus. But then we were like, okay, I don't remember signing something to say I wasn't going to be getting any more money apart from a regular rate. But I know one of the things was that if you sign on, then you will start getting, whatever rates they're paying. You'll be getting the extra shift differentials, all of those things. But I don't remember getting any payments like that.
Qualify for the sign-on bonus anyways, because the sign-on bonus would be for their staff, and if you're with the company, you're not a staff, right?
No, if you're with the company, you're not a staff, and even though you sign on, when you sign on as at the 4,160 or something like that, then you become a staff. So you're able to get all the other benefits of the as a regular staff nurse.
Right.
But I never get a sign on bonus, and that's why a lot of persons were a little bit upset. I'm referring to Avant, not the hospital.
Right. So that's why I'm saying maybe it's something that they introduced after your year, because they offer sign-on bonuses now. So you wouldn't have gotten it when you had signed with Avant at the time, but for persons who are signing now, they're getting sign-on bonus.
They're getting sign-on bonus.
Right.
Okay. Good night, Marvin. It's the only nurse you're talking about tonight. No, man, you can put in your questions. Anything you want to ask, you can ask, as long as it is related to, something relatable. Nursing, life, You can go ahead and put in your question down there. Had something specific you want to talk about, Marvin? Charlie. Hi, good evening. My name is Charlie. Sorry to bother you on the live, but is your last... Douglas, I guess my last name. No, dear, not Douglas. Okay. Yeah, so probably they're doing that because I hear that even their referral bonuses, they've increased their referral bonus and all those things. So I guess they probably made some adjustment, because I know a lot of persons were upset about the whole thing because they were like, oh, but I don't remember if I'd have to probably text one of my friend and ask her. Okay, thank you, because you look like us. Okay, when the eyes them big, let me look and see if the eyes them big. Cause my eye big, Let me follow you. I look like you guys. Okay. All right, let me check out your profile shortly. I'm seeing Tick talking about the Phil Mafias. Huh? I have no clue what we're talking about there, the traveler. I don't know what we're talking about. Yeah. So, completing the contract. Yeah, I mean, I really don't know about the sign-on bonus, bro. But if they're doing that, then that's nice. That is so nice. So, unless me get it on my pay, I'm going to really see the difference. But I would have seen the difference. I would have seen the difference, and I would have remembered that. I remember getting a sign-on bonus.
You would definitely see it.
I would have remembered that.
It'd probably be an extra $2,000.
$2,000 or something. And probably they would have, and I don't think they would have sent it, because I don't think they would have sent it as a part of your regular pay. You'd have to get a different check for that.
I would hope so.
You'd have to get a different check for that, because it's going to be taxed a little bit different. So,
did they give you like money when you arrived?
No.
Oh.
No, lie. As I say, the money that you signed, the stipend.
Like the housing allowance. They gave you housing allowance?
No. They had this thing where, the courses that they have you do in Jamaica, if you haven't completed them as yet in preparation for the States. So there are some little modules that they're sending you, right? Those little modules are to be completed, and every second they reach out and be like, oh, you need to hurry and get the modules done. But modules are not going to be able to be completed before you get up here, because you have a life dealing with and everything. So some of the modules, you still have them to do when you get here. So they went ahead and was paying, I think it was like probably like $4 or something like that. Between $4 and $8, may I go put it. But it wasn't anything much. They were paying for us to actually complete the hours. And I think you only could do 4 hours per day.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I think you mentioned that in the last live. But I think, you get housing allowance and probably arrival bonuses. Don't know if That's what are they doing it? I know that Avant gives bonus. They changed it though. It was 5,000 and I think they decreased it to $1,500 now. Not sure if they do arrive housing allowance in addition to the $1,500 sign on bonus that they offer. But
So
some companies do. Oh, she's saying yes.
some travelers say yes. No, some me not get none of them money there. Not one of them money there. The only thing that they did was when, as I say, they help with getting the credit card, and that was for the 2,500. So are you guys getting the credit card with Advantial?
More than likely will. Like most of those stuff they'll still remain, but I think they added like the bonus to fluff it
Oh,
up.
yes. She said yes. Okay. So I know we got that, and we got the Bank of America accounts opened, and that was it. There wasn't anything else.
So it was really the American dream that you get.
Never get nothing else. You understand? You just come over here with your money and them help you with getting those accounts started, and then you go out, and that was it. But as I say, when you're at their apartment, they had the little money that they were given, where you had to be doing the course when you were studying for the TNCC, or if you're supposed to be doing any specialist courses for whichever area you'll be going to. Then when you're studying for those exams, they're going to be paying you the 4 hours per or $4 per day to study for those exams. So that kind of help with getting a little money in your pocket for the 6 weeks.
Oh wow.
And that was it. They never really give anything else. No they call it an allowance.
Right.
But they
They're
never
getting it
gave us
now.
anything else.
They're getting it now. What them say something another money, something sweet in labor? I don't remember.
So probably because of the competition, and at one point I hear that a lot of persons were kind of not wanting to do them anymore. Don't know why, but yeah.
Still no, but it's for another conversation.
So I don't know, but yeah.
Good back, a couple years ago, but they're not so 100% now. And then they have competition, the Med Pro and the O'Grady. So
Okay. Yeah, I mean, my friend came up on O'Grady, and I wasn't really impressed with how they did her thing, her transition. But that's another story. Yeah, they weren't there for her. It was a really bad experience for her. But
some
yeah.
of them they do have, well, I'm not gonna so I can't say, but based on the reviews that I've seen, probably what would be some agencies, they offer something that is better than what another company would be offering. Maybe it would be the transition program for Avant, or maybe MedPro, for example, doesn't offer it, but they do, but it's an example. So persons would say that they'd prefer Avant over MedPro.
Okay. Well, for the transition, I would take the transition anytime, I guess. Because I say, when you come into a new country and you don't know anybody, it's a new place and everything, that was important for me. So I don't know with the other things that they're offering with the other company, but I know definitely the transition, yep, it was pretty good with them at the time. So I don't know why they're kind of slacking up on that. The traveler says, I heard the MedPro provides lunch daily. Not sure if it is true. As in daily, like on contract, or for the little 6 weeks that you'll be with them in their apartment.
I think their sign-on bonus is what, $5,000 if they haven't changed it too.
Okay. That doesn't sound bad.
It is 9 too. So your friend didn't get any sign-on bonus when she went either?
Nobody talk about no sign-on bonus. Max.
So maybe it's definitely something that they started recently.
Yeah, all of this that you're saying, them change it. Cause nobody not getting a sign-on bonus. Nobody not getting a sign-on. Me ask Michelle. Probably at work. 6 hours. I don't remember nobody had talked about no sign-on bonus. No sign-on bonus never that ring them days there.
Well, the free lunch sounds good.
And the free lunch no sound bad.
Mm-hmm.
Free lunch no sound bad at all.
So maybe it's definitely something they implemented in recent.
Because I know at one point they said they never go back to Jamaica or something like that because they're kind of too fussy down there. So,
No, I think they came since year. No,
they're there because I think they at NCU they did they have some things going on in terms of providing little, things down there if you catch the people them.
I don't really think that is the fussy, but when you take puss in a bag, and I feel like the other country. One thing with Jamaican people, we're not too frightening,
I'm going to tell you.
So, so I think that's the
problem.
issue. Yeah. Because a lot of persons, they probably would be quick to go to America and realize the American dream. But if the dream not sound good, we're not looking. Because it's the same thing when I think initially when they brought UK to us and it sounded good, and when they had a meeting and explained everything, when I said it was like probably 100 nurses in the meeting, after the meeting not a soul not said them interested to go to the UK. So,
yeah, because I see some of my friends over there and I'm like, okay then, why are you guys even over there? But some persons are wanting to come to the US and work, you understand? So I don't know.
I think it's because we know what we want, where they don't like we down here, and I'm not afraid to ask 2 questions and go take me to me in a puppy show.
Hello. Yeah, but I had them that say at the time.
Ask questions. They don't
exactly.
Like
people don't like when you ask questions, and when you ask too much questions, them feel as though you're being rude, and yeah.
Yes, they said that
me love my
a friend of mine that she was being rude, that same company there, just because she had passed the NCLEX. She did it on her own, and she said, look, I passed the NCLEX, where you offer me because what you're saying right now make no sense. But she never say it like that, but that's basically what she was saying. And after the email, them tell her, after the interview, them send her one email, so she rude.
But them been rank over there for a long time, because so them used to answer some of the people in front of them, so.
Yeah, because basically, what are you bringing to the table?
But then the package wasn't good. For somebody who had their NCLEX, never really made no sense. There was no significant difference in terms of what the contract was going to be.
When I think I was talking to them before, I was thinking about doing it. And the lady told me, say, I not fit bother do my NCLEX, I must wait. I must put off my date. After me spend my money.
Yeah, man. So she came up after me and she said no, she never get any of those regarding the bonus. So none of the sign-on bonus, nothing at all. So she said probably it's something new, like what we are talking about. But hi, CK43317, Eileen, welcome. Sherry, welcome. Kenya, Latrissa, Spicy RN. All right, hope you guys are doing well. Yeah, so we're kind of just, chit-chatting here for a little bit. we're talking about transitioning and everything else, accommodation. So just in case you're late and you want to see the full live, I will definitely be posting it on my YT page at ThinkNursing. So you can go over there, subscribe. All right, let me show you. Subscribe over there. The page is, so I reached 2, okay, so not going bad at all. Not going bad at all. The goal is to be a full-time content creator. All right. Anyways, so this is the page. And you go over there and subscribe. All right. And make sure you're seeing the word subscribed. That's how you know you're actually locked in to the content. All right. Yeah. So I'll definitely post these videos over there. They're a little bit lengthy, but it has a lot of questions and answers for persons who are transitioning to the state and need, you know, a little bit of an insight to some of the things that we will be experiencing when we get here to the States. All right. Oh my word, I got 5 subscribers. Can you imagine that? That is not bad. That's not bad. Okay. Slow and steady. That's how you're gonna win the race. All right. So yeah. But you guys have any questions or what you want to talk about? I'm gonna really feel like I want to go again. Don't want to go anywhere. What we want to talk about? Let me see what's on my to-do list. All right. So I'm gonna talk about some of the biggest lessons that I've learned since you know, moving here to the States, especially as a nurse. You know, I'm gonna talk about some of those. When it comes on to culture shock, hi Kuanashi or Q Anash. Uh-oh, my battery dead. Culture shock is gonna be one of those things. You're gonna be encountering a lot of them. Oh, I thought this was plugged in. Can I plug it in? There's going to be so many, you know, culture shocks you'll encounter every single day. And as I say, I'm still encountering and experiencing a lot. Hold on. Do you tip all the time, Adriana, when you go to like your restaurants or when you order something? Say, for example, you order a pizza. Do you tip them all the time or do you tip them really?
I like tipping. I don't mind tipping once the service is good.
No, but I'm not talking about like, you know, we go there and we dine. I'm talking, you order a pizza and you go and pick up a pizza. Do you tip them?
I'm gonna pick you up.
I'm going to tell you, me not tip. Me don't know if it's bad, but me not really get no service apart from, you know, I know you prepare the food and everything. But
no, I don't tip for fast food.
Me not really like high diamond heart. Me not really tip like that. You understand? So it's always like every time I see it, I'm always clicking skip because I really think I need to be tipping. I order the food, I'm a drive, come and pick it up. It's not like you drive, come and deliver it. I'll tip my Uber, you know, my Uber driver. I'll tip them, but I really feel as though I'm supposed to be driving to pick up my bag and be tipping. I don't know.
Right.
I don't. Yeah, so that's one of the shock. Like everywhere you go, it's all about tipping, whether or not you're dining or you go and pick up the bag, the package, you have to be tipping. I think it's just our Caribbean culture. We don't usually see it as a necessity. Okay.
I tip Uber Eats because I go spit in my drink.
Look here. No. Me no bother. So when it comes on to food and me ordering, I don't take any, like if I am supposed to get my drink, it's going to be an orange juice. I'm always taking an orange juice because it come covered. And I hardly order from anywhere. Like I'll order from Chick-fil-A because I know Chick-fil-A, them lock the bag. So if the bag is tampered with, me know. You understand? But me not order smoothie and all them stuff there when people I walk with, like I come with you with a cup and everything. Like no, the other day I ordered something from, where was it again? Whataburger. I ordered a sandwich and I ordered a juice. But the juice, they only come with a cup. But me not drink from out of the cup. I don't drink the cup juice when them come. So the young lady in the office says, why are you throwing the juice away? I say, oh, because I don't drink it. I'm not going to be drinking it because I don't really trust people like that. You understand? Me like go and pick up my food. Not saying that, you know, but the ones in the kitchen too. I don't really trust them like that, but you know.
I understand.
Yes, but anyways, the lady came, the driver came, and the driver had a dog sitting at the side of the food. So you know, so me and my Jamaican self now, me say, Mom, what's going on here? Me say, you can never be delivering people food and have a dog in there. You could never be doing that. I'm sorry. She have a dog sitting right beside me, my Whataburger.
Wow.
Me say, it's okay, you can continue on the merry way. Me no want the food. I don't want it. Your little chihuahua sitting down looking at my food, wheeling around like this. So I call Whataburger and I explain to them and tell them something about my money, and then I go online, and that's what I tell you. You'll only see people do reviews whenever them disgruntled, them upset. And I had to do a review. She texted me back and said, oh, you never need. Me say, no, mom, you needed it to be reported because people like you're not supposed to be handling people food. Because I don't know how many times that dog licked my bag. You understand? I don't know how many times that dog probably go there and sniff that sandwich there before the sandwich reached to me. And then you're expecting me not supposed to be reporting you. No, dear. You can do that at home and have people lick on your stuff. Like the dogs lick on your food and you drink it. But if you're going to be dealing with people's food, you're not supposed to be doing these kind of deliveries. Like, no. She was upset. She was texting. She was like, oh, they're going to be blocking my... I say, yeah, I really don't care. Me say you need to be aware of what you're doing. Me say this is people food. Not because you have a dog or, you know, you have a cat. It doesn't mean that dog and cat and people food mixed together in the same environment, and then you're gonna bring it and then you make it seem like it's okay. The dog and the food up on the front seats don't look for
But what if you were allergic to dog?
Exactly. Me would be right there, probably a Whataburger, just saying, you know, but
Yeah.
I'll be there saying that Whataburger probably put something or, you know, whatever it is that I'm exposed to that is causing this. And then probably if I'm one of those persons that's going to take it very, very far and go and try to find out what allergen it is and realize that it is a dog, you're going to be like, what is going on at Whataburger, and not realizing that, you know, let me say no. That's what I tell people. Like, I definitely will be like, okay, then it depends on how far the Whataburger, not necessarily the Whataburger, but the Chick-fil-A is. Because I know Chick-fil-A come with their, you know, I order the juice, I order orange juice. And when the orange juice come, I rinse off my orange juice, a bottle or whatever, and then I take my Chick-fil-A bag. If my Chick-fil-A bag look like it get tampered with, because Chick-fil-A fold the bag a specific way, and then them tape it down. So that way, if you pull it, me know. Sometimes some people that get some food and the fries hanging out. I say, how you know so the people them not eat the fries? You understand? How is it that you know that the people them don't play around with the fries? I trust my dogs, not people dogs.
I just Uber to the restaurant and come back to my yard.
Exactly. Me not going to run them restaurant. But that should it wouldn't have too bad if she had the dog on the back, but even so, me no want it. Me no really want it like that. Them always say what you don't see don't kill you. What you don't see can't kill you. You understand? So don't put it up in my face like that. Don't put it up in people's face like that. You're going to be delivering food with your dog sitting on the front seat with the food. Like, come on, lady. And then you're going to be upset with me.
And is she the foolishness?
And you the foolishness. If you know the job and your job is like, you know, that important, leave the dog at home. Leave the dog somewhere. But you can't be carrying people food. Can you imagine if my fries was out?
I think animal lovers feel as though everybody else is an animal lover.
Exactly.
So if you love dog, we automatically love dog.
And I say when they come to the hospital, they feel as though, because, yeah, I'm a cat lover, I'm a dog lover, you have to take both of us in bed. How many dogs skin up them face and look at you and you're supposed to be okay with it. And when you do like this, they're nice. No, dear. So nowadays, I love the fact that hospitals are saying, if they're not a service animal, them stay out a door. And some people take it as far. If you don't want to stay, if you don't want to send them outside, you know, if you don't have somebody outside to keep them, you can go with them too. You understand? Because obviously, you're not sick. If you're going to make one animal prevent you from getting care, and the animal is like, one day I went in this room and I tell you, so the dog, that could never be a service animal. Me just feel as though some of these people put this title or these tags to say they're service animal, but the dogs are so aggressive. Them aggressive bad. There could never be any service animal that is that aggressive. And it's not like, it's to another animal. You're thinking where you can be like, oh, you're coming in my territory. No. The culture with animal is, I know boundaries are important. Definitely, definitely. Hi, Nurse Yams. How are you? But yeah, the animal thing, I can't deal with it like that. I cannot deal with it. They take it to a different level. Take it to too far. But yeah. But then people get upset, people get upset when you're trying to explain. And if you can't understand and, accept the animals with them, then it's a problem. But me not accept. I really don't accept. Don't accept. I'll accept working with them when they have the dogs in their little, I'll accept when they have their dogs in their little kennel, that little thing that they lock them away in. Yeah. And then they cover them. Some of them throw like blankets over so it doesn't stimulate and make them feel as though, they're just going to be very aggressive and everything towards us. But apart from that, I really like that. Fire, Kushan, how are you?
Blessed love, Rastafari.
You good?
I'm over there, I want to give thanks to the Isis, everything good.
Yeah, man. I'm over here, as usual. Over here. You working today?
I graduated yesterday.
Graduate from what?
From college.
Oh, what is what? August? Congratulations. So which degree this now? Master's, PhD?
No, master's already.
Yeah, so which one?
I'm going to do our next degree in event management.
Lord of mercy. Can't manage no more school. I don't understand how I do it. How you do it. But congratulations on this major milestone.
So I finish work, work done with school,
Oh, so what you plan to do now?
I wait on the work permit for you start my OPT.
OPT?
Yeah, it's like a optional practicum training.
Okay. So how long?
Students get that opportunity, like a 1 year to work in the US when you're a student in the US.
Okay.
So it's like a work experience kind of way.
Okay. All right. So Fire is one of my classmates from grade 3. Well, not from grade 3. We're coming from infant class in primary school days. Yeah, man. So we kind of link up on TikTok here again. But I haven't seen him for a long time. But yeah, introduce yourself, Fire. Tell me people them about you. Yeah, so he's a teacher. He is also into natural foods and all. Tell him a little bit about your Fire. Yeah, introduce yourself and make sure to go and subscribe, follow, and also Adrian as well and everybody else that is on the live. All right.
Okay, greetings everyone. My name is Fire Kush. I am an educator for over 15 years. I specialize in hospitality and tourism education and training. I am a professional student or a lifelong learner. I'm a vegan, so I do a lot of healthy cooking. I promote natural food, raw food, and exercise. And that's it. I'm a father of 2. And yeah.
Married?
Yes. Married, yes.
Okay.
Married and don't want any more kids. So
Okay. Okay, nice. Oh, Mr. Adriana, you know, we come on and we're talking, and I didn't even introduce you. Have you introduced yourself? As some people normally do it on TikTok when you come on. But anyways, Fire Kush, thank you so much for introducing yourself. Adriana, I said we normally do it.
No, not really. No, people just come up and start.
Oh, but anyways, you have something going on as well. So go ahead and introduce yourself, Miss Adriana, so the people can know where to find you and what you're offering.
Hi, everybody. I'm Adriana, one of the agents at NCLEX Navigator Services. We help registered nurses and enrolled nurses to sit the NCLEX independently. Once it is that you have successfully passed the NCLEX, we can also refer you to an agency where they can assist you with your immigration process so that you can become documentarily qualified within 4 to 6 months. Yep.
That sounds good.
And a lovely sign-on bonus of $15,000.
Wow.
Send me a DM to learn more.
Wow. Wow. Anyways, if you get the link, so me can get my people them over YT sign up. Okay, well that sounds good. That sounds good. Yeah. But we will link you. I will send you a message inbox so I can get more details regarding everything else. And then from there. But yeah. Jean, welcome. Richard, Michael, Merlin. So Diamond, how are things going for you? Uncle Jojo, thank you for the follow. All right. And Nurse EMs, how have things been? Oh, I think I saw a message from you. Let me see. Sorry, TikTok. I don't really get notifications like this on TikTok, you know, because TikTok is very addictive. And so I don't turn on notifications like that because I don't want to be, you know, so absorbed into social media. I want to be a content creator, but I don't want to be like absorbed, you know, completely into this thing. Okay, you're good for now. Where are you joining from, Diamond? So this is one way for me to put a little bit of, you know, Yems, Nurse Yems, where are you? I remember seeing a message from you, but I can't find it. Nurse Yems, can you text me the message again, or this thing is
Talking about leaving contracts early.
Oh, you saw one? Okay. So, oh, she put it in the live? I was asking about leaving contract. Oh, so I was saying, okay. So you mentioned something about leaving a contract early, even if contract is paid out of, say, after 6 months. What are the implications? Do you know anyone that do that? So as I say, you know, people leave contracts every now and again. But as I say, you don't want it to be a case where it probably caused any issues with your immigration status. All right, so that's the only thing I was saying regarding that, at least stay for a year. Yeah, and when I was reading online, they say even so, even if you stay for the year, it is not like, say, guaranteed. You understand? It's not guaranteed that it won't cause any problems. So if you know, unless something really, really comes up where you definitely have to cut ties with that company, then I would say, you know, it's okay. Well, not me saying okay. You're going to be saying it's okay to go because, you know, whatever your decision is or your issues is at the time. But as I say, I just feel as though companies are not even companies, but immigration is going to look at it, and that can be something that, you know, can be concerning for your case when it's time to apply for that. So that's just my take on that part. But they say if you stay up to a year, you know, some persons will be like, okay. And then if you're, so for example, that company is going to try and say, all right, then, you know, I'm going to get back at this nurse because she didn't complete the contract and she has 6 months remaining. what if that company decide that they're not going to continue with the sponsorship and you're here in the US and you need another job, then you're going to have to find a company that is going to be giving you sponsorship. And sometimes that company might be looking at your previous relationship with another company. And when you think about it, they might just be like, okay, no, we're not going to do that, because they feel as though you're using the company. So you have to kind of just look at it, from different, angles, and then from there, make your decision. But as I say, it's going to be dependent on you. And then from there. So, okay, like concerning when applying for your passport. So, well, for your green card, for your not green card, your citizenship, for your citizenship. So when you're going to do your exam, on the day, they're going to have an information related to your sponsorship when you cut ties with them and all. And if they feel as though they want to kind of dig a little bit deeper as to why you cut relationship with that company, they can make the decision from there whether or not it is something that they'll approve. So that's just what I'm thinking. And based on what I was reading.
I think I read where I think almost like it's required for you to work with them for 1 year.
Up to 1 year. Mm-hmm.
Right, but the contracts that we get will probably say like you have to stay for 3 years, but I think after the 1 year you should be good. But even if it's a case that she breaks her contract, she wouldn't necessarily need sponsorship because she would already have the green card. I think the main issue would stem, as you were mentioning,
the citizenship.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It's the citizenship, but I'm talking about that part, because you'd have gotten your green card coming over, and then but if you don't apply for your citizenship, and probably you want to renew your green card, I don't really understand how that part, honestly. Never really dig that far in it, but it's just a part when you're supposed to do your citizenship at 5 years that is going to be probably a little, concerning. That's all. West Side, looking at you, the better one. Oh, okay. Hi, West Side, how are you? Okay, yeah. So that's just that. And I think there was someone who was asking something about, probably, I don't know if it was you, Adriana. Probably it's not you. Someone was asking regarding their husband and getting a job, if they're supposed to probably start. Was that you?
I don't think so, but that's a very good question.
If they should go ahead and start looking at job. And, it's okay to start looking at job if you know exactly where you're going to be going. Nothing is wrong with that. Oh, it was you, Nursey? Okay. Yeah, as long as you know where you're going, nothing is wrong with, looking at job. Or if they are planning on staying home, then, you can always look a remote job from anywhere. And that is something that they could start even working from before arriving here. So who knows? But yeah, if you know definitely where you're going to be going, then you apply for a job, or they can look a job in the meantime. Remote job you can get from anywhere. So that's something they can do in the meantime as well.
A conversation that I was having with my husband today was specifically around the nurses who would have been married to probably like a soldier or a policeman, and oftentimes you'll hear that they are the ones that end up in problems when they migrate, even if the intention was not pure from the beginning. But I think some of the nurses, they're caught up in wanting to carry over their partner because they're afraid of being alone. But they don't look on the how their partner will transition into the US, because it's not like you can just go turn police, and it might take you a while if you decide say, all right, go into the army, to find a job. Will he be willing to go and fold clothes in TJ Maxx or wash plate at McDonald's? Most of them probably they don't want to do it, and then they end up feeling emasculated, and them stress out, and then find somebody a road
problem in a relationship.
So I think that's something that maybe that's a conversation that the nurses need to start having with their spouses in terms of what will you be doing when you get to the US if you're unable to work in the same capacity that you are working in now.
And I did made mention of it the other day because you find out, as you say, a lot of persons they come over here and the relationship goes sideways because you're working, or some persons were working in a corporate job, and then you get here and you realize that they can't get a job. You understand, they don't have certain experiences for certain position that they're applying for, and it's just a big problem. So have the conversation, as you say, regarding whether or not you're gonna be wanting to do certain kind of job, because at the end of the day money needs to still be made, because we still have bills to take care of. So you need to find out from before, what if you don't get a job up there? Are you going to be sitting home for the next 6 months, 1 year, 2 years? Because me don't want nobody sitting I yard for no 2 years not working, looking at me coming home. Me understand, say yes, but at the end of the day, especially if we don't have any kids, no, you probably could have stayed back in Jamaica and continue working and then you come and visit or something. But I think it should be a case where you are going to be coming up and for 2 years you're not going to be working, and we still have bills and all of those things. So it means that you're going to have a conversation regarding probably staying home and work down there, and you come up here whenever. I don't know how we're going to do it, but underneath we have a conversation. If it means that I'm gonna be trying to find a job at the hospital, so we can still get the insurance, even if you're working just to get the insurance. You understand? Cut it down a little bit on your side. You go to the hospital and you get signed up to be a transport, or you're working as a clerks, receptionist. There's so many different things that you can still do in the meantime. It might not be much, but at least you're still tied in with the hospital, and you still can get the benefits of the hospital that are going to be a little bit cheaper than what you, the nurse that is transitioning, is paying through your company. So these are things, you have to think about and make sure that it sit well with both persons. Because if it don't sit well with both persons, I'm going to tell you that, it's going to be a problem for the entire time. It's going to be a problem. Too much problem. So make sure we're having that conversation. It's hard for me to get a lecture job here. Yeah, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult, to do anything. Yeah, that has to be considered before going for an offer on the state. Yeah, it makes sense. You have to have, you have to figure it out before you even sign the contract. You have to have that conversation. It can't be one-sided where you just feel as though, I want to go to America, so the husband, the wife is going to come because I'm a nurse and I got a job offer, No, both of you must want to come to the States to live and work. And as I say, yes, some persons will sacrifice 2 years staying home with the kids, because at the end of the day, you're the one that is making it possible for the green card, the citizenship and everything to come through, because both of you are on the same page that you want to be in America because of good insurance and all of them things there. But at the end of the day, is your spouse going to be willing to settle for 2 years worth of doing something, as it says, working in TJ Maxx, working as a transporter, receptionist, even though the person probably have, a degree as a, medical doctor, and it's taking forever for them to actually get, license and everything? Is the case where they're going to be settling for something that is below their pay grade just to make sure that it works for both of you in the long run. It's like you're starting over there.
And it's okay for him to stay in Jamaica. You just have to know your partner. Well, they both have to know.
That's the other thing. You have to know each other in order for one to be east and west. You understand? And then from there. But if not, then, you have the conversation and you come over here. But as I say, even if it's a case where the partner is going to be working just to make sure, as I say, there's so many jobs in the hospital that even if your partner come over here with you, they can get a job that still will help with subsidizing that insurance cost. Because with you spending $300, $400 for insurance itself through your company, the company that is recruiting you, your husband could be getting something through the hospital that is going to be far less, because the system is a little bit bigger and all. So those are things you can look at. So even if they're here and not working that much money, at least that aspect of it, is going to be lowered. That's just what I'm thinking.
Right in a hospital, him shall go.
Right in there, them will go. Yes. So as we say, you just have to think there, and it will eventually blow off. It will eventually just, um,
Or just
pretty
start
much.
researching. I don't know. Like you don't just sit and wait on the day to come in, and the day will eventually come. So start looking at what are the job options, what are available to
Mm-hmm.
give. Just start research.
You already know what you are going over there for. You
Right.
understand? So just need to go and say, okay, then this is what is available, and from there, you understand. But don't make it be a case where when we get here, we're clueless as to what each person is gonna be. Well, not each person, but the other person is gonna be doing during that time period.
Because one thing's for certain, two things for sure. I'm going to Google.
Huh?
No, I'm saying one thing's for certain and two things for sure. I'm going to Google to see what he can do and how much he's going to get paid. At least every 3 months, I look to see what is available because I want to ensure that whenever the day comes to transition, that something is there for him to do.
And as I say, you
But
might
I'm not
not be able to.
necessarily worried about him though because of the field that he's in. That's good. But for persons that might have another partner, then they really need to.
They need to just start doing their, Google search and all them stuff there about the jobs that are available. And as I say, you have a lot of remote jobs as well. So especially if you have kids and, depending on the age group as well, that is something you can think about in terms of looking jobs that are remote, because you as a nurse is here not going to be able to do anything remote like that based on your contract. But at least they will be able to do something remote and, still take care of the kids who are not going to be that much of too much of a problem.
That date look like next visa bulletin though. Yeah, priority date look like the next visa bulletin. No, I don't think it is because the thing is this September bulletin will come out probably in 2 weeks. So it might move to May or it might go to June. But even so, when October comes, which will be available in September, I'm not sure if you're in Jamaica, but I think you might get early dates even before the month starts. So, and depending on when your staffing agency says that you're supposed to leave, you can probably leave by November. But I mean, you don't have to apply. No, probably after you get your embassy date. Yeah, but at least look around to see what's available.
Yeah, I don't really know much about the priority date, but thanks for that, Adriana. Yeah, I don't really know much about the priority date. But 20 May priority date, May 2023 to.
I think what the visa bulletin is at April 2023 for what we're in now for August. So the next bulletin that will be available is for September 2025, and it might go forward. So her priority date might become current for the upcoming visa bulletin. But even if it's not, the October bulletin will be available in September. So there's a possibility that her date will become current at that point. So she might get her interview probably around September, October, and then she can look to leave by November or December, depending on when she actually wants to leave.
Okay. Okay. Any other question? Wash Belly O2. Thank you for tuning in. Fisim, thank you for tuning in. And if I miss you, you know, I'm gonna really miss you like that. But I'm trying to make sure that I call your name on the live here because I appreciate you taking the time out. Scrub Live 2003. Thank you for tuning in. Hadi Masir 5. Thank you for tuning in. Ella Mackenzie. Okay. English 876. Thanks for tuning in. Any other questions? Any other concern? Oh, remember to give the like, the live a like, please. All right, double tap up your screen a little bit. Thank you for the follow. It's not. What's the name? English 876. Thank you for the follow. All right. And what's this? Oh, 20 rows. Thank you, Nurse Yams. Thank you for the roses. All right. Anyways, you know, it's 8 o'clock. It's 8 o'clock right now. And I'm feeling a little bit hungry. Yeah, it's 8 o'clock. I'm going to go to the gym tomorrow. You know what? I'm not going to eat anything. I'll probably go and drink some juice or something. I'm going to try this. I'm going to go on fasting. I'm going to do a 10-day fast, but I cannot start today. I wanted to start today.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So
Right
there's
up
this.
my alley. I could give you the recipes and the guides and everything. Right up my alley.
Yeah, man. So you don't want to join me, or can we join like a little, you know, a little group of us?
I'm
Who is up
fasting.
for
I'm
it?
always fasting.
Eh?
I'm always fasting.
Well, yeah, cause you don't eat no cook food. Can't manage that.
So yeah, we can start. Already, my fridge already full of juice already. Anyway, so yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna do a melon. I was gonna start out with melon because I was watching this video on YT yesterday. It was probably like 1 hour and 20 minutes, and we're talking about the benefits of fasting and like so many things that fasting does for the body. And I know about it.
Yeah, man, definitely.
Because you know every time when people have problem in the Bible, them always go to fasting and prayer.
True.
So yes, so fasting is very
The digestive system and
exactly. So I'm gonna say, all right, then I'm gonna do a little fasting. But I saw where they were doing like a documentary, and there were these guys that did a 21-day fast. 21-day fast, and even to the point where there was a young lady who was talking about her story. She had hepatitis C, and she also had fibroids, and she did days of fasting, and that helped with getting rid of her hepatitis C. It also get rid of her fibroids. She literally passed out her fibroids because she went on a 21-day fast, started a little fruits. First few days she said wasn't bad, and it was the same thing with the guys. They said the first few days weren't bad, was bad. It was bad for the first few days, and then after a while, you know, then
the first 5 days of fasting usually the hardest. You
the
get the
hardest part
headaches,
of it.
nausea, dizziness, sugar cravings, a lot of things. But once you get past the 5 days, it's smooth sailing after 5 days.
But I tell you,
If you want to take this thing serious, you have to brace yourself for all of the symptoms that comes with fasting.
yeah, so that's why I say I'm not going to do. I said I was going to take a 7-day vacation and then just make it be, you know, mind and body and rest, and just do that 7 days.
What is happening?
Huh?
You just go have a vacation already.
Then I thought, no, probably December. Come on.
Okay.
Gonna take 7 days, and just go out and just do fasting for 10 days, for 7 days, and just call it a day. So what I'm gonna do is 3 days leading up, I'll do like the watermelon juice, and then transition into the fasting with the water, and then that's it. And hopefully, I want to be very, very thin. Very, very thin. Yeah, I want to go back to college days. Not too thin, but you know, I want to be, you know, slim enough. Yeah. But yeah, I see where they talk about it and all the benefits of it, and you know, this guy was having pain, some persons with their diabetes, their hypertension, all of those things. Basically, a lot of them are not on medication. Not saying that they're on medication, but just to say, I just feel as though I want to go on a fasting because sometimes I have headache. I have headaches every now and again. So I say I want to do a little fasting and see if that will help with my weight loss as well and my headache. So we'll see how that does. So I'm going to do 7 days. So Thursday, I'm going to be starting the watermelon juice. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Oh, I probably should have started a little bit early because I want Friday and Saturday to be the 5th. So, yeah. Because I'm trying to make sure the weekend I'm going to be home. So at least, you know, when, you know, hungry I lick me a little bit, at least I'm home. And when I'm tired and drained a little bit, I'm home in a comfortable space. And then, you know, hopefully for the remainder of the week, it won't be that bad. So I'm going to try it and see how it does. And then I will tell you guys about it. All right. But may I tell you, the guys lost like so much pounds in the 21 days. They lost, I think it was like 24 pounds. 24 pounds. And their numbers in terms of their A1C, one of them A1C was a little bit elevated. And one of them, their liver enzyme was elevated. And those correct themselves. So there's so many things that, you know, the benefits of it. So you should try it every now and again. But try it properly. Do not just go ahead and say, oh, today we're going fast. You know, prepare your body and make sure you're doing it correctly. So if you're going to try to do fruits or, you know, smoothie or whatever it is leading up to the days when it's going to be just probably like a black tea or your green tea or whatever, your water, you know, with a little lemon, whatever it is you're going to be drinking during that time, then you do it properly and then you transition back to fruits or juice. Well, juice they did. They never eat anything. Transition juice for like, you know, 3 days and then they started eating soft food. Hi, why you have a sad face? I don't know. What are we talking about? I was kind of talking a little bit about fasting here for a few seconds. Saying that I was going to do that, but we're talking about nursing, transitioning, you know, a bunch of questions, answers, basically. Yeah. How are you doing though? And why you have a sad face? Yeah, so basically that's it. Hi, Caroline John, 75. Thank you for tuning in. So, yeah. But anyways, I am going to be going. Any questions before I go? Thank you, Yemis, Nurse Yems. Where are you, Nurse Yems? Are you in Jamaica or where are you from? Yeah, man, Fire. Enjoy your evening. Oh, you're in the oh yeah, you did say that. You did say that. My bad. But you say you were Jamaican as well, or something like that. From Nigeria. Okay. Parents from huh?
Can I have a kiss?
You want a kiss? Okay, come and give me a kiss. Son needs a kiss before he goes to bed. You gonna come and let them look at you? You want them to look at you?
No.
No? Okay, he's camera shy like me. Adrian. Okay, no problem. Go ahead. No. Hold on there. How it go? Let's go to this thing. Honestly, I don't really look for my pay stub again like that, you know. I just know that, you know, what I get after them take out taxes and everything. Is it after? After I remember how this thing go. Pre-tax. Okay, so before tax, yeah. So your 403 employee plan, health plan, dental plan, vision plan are pre-tax deductions. And then you have tax withholding such as your federal tax, social security tax, Medicare tax, and if the state also does state tax, then that comes out. And then you have after tax deduction. Oh, these are like your short-term disability, employee supplemental life, and you have if you have any like, you know, gym membership and all those things. Yeah. Didn't even realize that that part was on it. Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah. So it's a part of it. All right. Alrighty, well, I will see you guys. Any other question before I go? Alright, so I will see you guys in another live. Alright, I'll try to come and chit chat every other day, every day, depending on how I feel. But I'll try to put it in the, you know, in the little section on my page there. All right. And if you're passing through, you can always come and say, hey. Or if you have a question, you can always come and ask a question. All right. But I will see you in the next video, the next live. And I hope you guys will have a wonderful day. All right. Until then, enjoy your evening. You're welcome, Nurse Yems. All right.